Hello, CFA Nation, and everybody waiting in the lobby who's been here for a while. My bad, guys. My bad, my guys. What's going on, everybody? Oh man, we had some technical difficulties. We had some human errors. Basically, I didn't wake up on time, didn't hear my alarm. What's going on, people? 33, you guys already here. Man, I uh I am nervous. I am nervous right now. Just got back up. I literally didn't get to the house till like 2 a.m. people. My bad, my bad. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm here to watch this final. I'm sure Ozjad's been waiting. We got New Zealand versus Australia. Australia won the toss, which bodes well for them. 8 overs already in the books. Unfortunately, I missed the first 8 overs, but 42 for one. I'm loving that. What's going on, people? What's going on? What's up, Ozjad? What's up, Fake Gabe? What up? What up? What's up, Varun? Yeah, finally here, guys. Finally here. Sorry, human error. Human error. Basically, human error was again. I didn't hear my alarm, so it's a busy weekend in Vegas this week, man. We had UNLV versus Hawaii, which is a big college football game. It happened at Raider Stadium. We had a boxing fight. We had the day concert, which is a like an outdoor festival, and obviously we got the Raiders this today, so it's been super busy. What's up, Don Antonio? What is good? What is good? Yeah, absolutely, Jihan. What's up, Jihan? I got some people that'll be in and out today. Um, Man, the Cricket Connoisseur, Cricket Forest 2.0. I'm super excited for this match. I feel good about it. Oh, and as I speak, I curse my Aussies. There goes a boundary. There goes a boundary. Gabe Stradamus in the house. You guys like that? You already know the deal. But come on, this is big brother, little brother. This is big brother, little brother. Little brother better not lose. That's just the bottom line. Little brother better not lose. Right now, whew, as I look at the score, and I'm telling you guys, I feel good about it. But I know that New Zealand has started off slow before and then opened up like gangbusters. So I'm not putting anything past them until the last ball today. Gabe Mush, you guys know it. What's going on? Gabe Mush, you guys know it. Trader, wow. Look at that star. Trader, easy, easy. I picked New Zealand to get here, but you know I picked the Aussies. Come on now, easy. And Mitchell Marsh gets pumped again for another boundary. Oh, daddy, back to back and belly. Kane Williamson starting to wake up, getting ready to play. Oh boy. Look at Smirty. Keep on mushing, Gabe. Keep on mushing. So again, through through 9 overs now, only one wicket, which bodes well for New Zealand. You would have expected a higher score, but they still got wickets in hand. So I feel like it's still a safe score. There goes a dot ball for Mitchell Marsh. Come on now. Yeah, Ozjad should be joining us as well, guys. Like I said, star-studded cast coming today to hang out with the kid. I'm so excited about it. Ozjad's probably been waiting for me for a minute. Gabe, will Williamson play only against your side? Williamson only shows up against my side, guys. He loves it. He enjoys it. It's his pleasure. It's his pleasure. Let me go ahead and update the score for those of you that aren't following it or aren't watching the game live. And we got 51 for one in the ninth over. So the score is definitely manageable, but New Zealand still have a lot of wickets in hand. Winning that toss has been so huge, though. It obviously is such a huge thing for the Aussies. So they just can't let the score get out of hand. They just can't let the score get out of hand. Here we go. 51 for 1. I actually did not see that wicket. I'm going to have to watch it during the break. 9 overs in the books, guys. Get in the chat, see what's up with you guys. Benedict Arnold in the house. Man, you guys crushing me. Benedict Arnold. Listen, I went with New Zealand to get here, but you know I'm rocking with the Aussies. You know I'm rocking with the Aussies. I picked them in early up on in the tournament. Come on now. This is interesting. New Zealand lost the game already at the toss. There's some truth to be said there. Somebody tweeted me a record of all the T20 matches and championships and the toss. And those numbers are scary. 94 in the chat, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Those numbers are scary. And when you look at that, I don't know, guys, something different's got to happen. Something different's going to happen because the numbers clearly say that there's such a huge advantage in T20 specifically. And winning that toss, man, it's brutal. It's brutal. You know I'm standing my ground. Come on now. Roland, you know I stand my ground. I'm just letting people know. I picked New Zealand to get here, but I'm not picking them over my Aussies. Stop it. Ozjan and Aaron, I'm pretty sure I already sent them, but let me double check. I was doing that before I got on. Let me double check. Guys, here's the thing, man. When you have such a glaring, absolutely glaring statistic, like, do you just ignore it because it's tradition and keep going with it? I mean, somebody said it to me on Twitter. I think it was a huge number, but listen, you can't get those kind of odds in Vegas. The house doesn't get those kind of odds, basically, guys. I'm serious. It's a heart attack here. So, you know, winning that toss is huge. Winning that toss is absolutely huge. You put the other team at such a disadvantage. So are we just going to ignore it? And another break. 57 for 1. 57 for 1. Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Should they just keep it this way? 57 for the 10 overs. Wow. Yeah. Aussies don't choke. I'm working on it, Renelle. I got you, baby girl. I got you. I thought I had sent it actually before I got on. That's my bad. Again, we've had a day of technical difficulties and human error. That's what it is. Asjad, if you're in here, go ahead and check that link for me, my friend. Go ahead and check that link. It should be there right now. Should be there right now. Now I'm trying to send it to my man, a cricket connoisseur. Yep, this is what happened when Nick's not here, guys. I know. I need him so. Australian bowlers keep New Zealand batters in check And through 10 overs, 57 runs, man. I'm loving it. Yeah, for sure. We need them here as well. I'm so excited. Azjad and Aaron both decided to join. We also got another special guest coming later. You know what I'm saying? The second inning. So fun filled day. Fun filled day coming. And man, the run. I mean, guys, this is just a predictor. I can guarantee you this is wrong. Predictor right now has at what is that? 127? No way. No way. New Zealand's going to put up a bigger fight than that. No way. My man, there you go, my man, Han. Waiting to get trolled. Gabe, you don't call, you don't write. Have you broken up with me? Stop it, Han. Stop it. Like I said, it's been a busy weekend. Busy weekend. You already know. You're my favorite banter, man. You always get the juices flowing. Oh, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Aja, thank you so much for joining, man. My apologies, my humble apologies for being late. I know your time is valuable. You got the family, work, the beautiful baby girl. I want to hear your thoughts on this, man. I mean, first and foremost, on the comment that was made, and somebody sent it to me on Twitter, so I want to go ahead and give them some love. But honestly, man, on this idea, basically, that winning the toss has just become so integral, man.
Yeah, 100%. This is the funny thing that 15 out of 16 games in the IPL, then you had all the games in Dubai, all of them where you're chasing, you've won the match. It's crazy. It is crazy. There was another stat I saw, actually. If you look at all the T20 World Cup finals, only one of them was won by the team that didn't win the toss or something like that. Other times, it was just the team that won the toss. So toss does come into play quite a bit. But in this particular instance, it's been very, very apparent. Like the New Zealand-England game, even the Australia-Pakistan game, it was very, very evident that even if you bat well in the first innings, doesn't guarantee you're going to win the match. Like South Africa, England they scored 190 and they only won by 10 runs. You see what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely a disparity. That's absolute madness in this year's T20 World Cup. Also, oh my God, Kane Williamson is dropped.
You love to see it. You love to see it, boys. Oh, for those of you out there as well, Gabe, you won't know this, but Azjad will know this from the previous stream. For today, I'm not the cricket connoisseur. Okay, I'm not.
You're not the cricket connoisseur.
The cricket connoisseur from Wellington. Okay, because we are becking the Black Caps all the way. Kane Williamson is taking us to T20 World Cup glory. Let's go, the boys.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. There goes the first big controversial drop. And man, I can hear the match fixing coming in the chat right now. Listen, I've been guilty for it. And guys, I had to apologize last time because I did not realize the amount of hate and visceral that was gonna be sent towards who was the Pakistan player that dropped that?
Hassan Ali.
Hassan Ali. Man, I was like, are you serious? Like, people threatening him, like, yo, don't come back home. Don't come back home. Yeah. Like, you feel some kind of way about that. And again, if I say it tongue in cheek when I say match fixing. Guys, athletes are way too arrogant, first and foremost. They all think they're the best. They have too much pride. I don't ever think an athlete would do that. You know what I'm saying? This generation, that's just not in these guys' DNA. So I haven't heard anything bad, so I'm hoping he's okay. But man, the amount of hate he got, I felt so bad for him. But look at that. That's just a brutal drop. And I'm looking at Aaron Finch like, now, bro, like, listen. You better do something big with the bat, bro. Because,
Right. So, Gabe, just to tell you, there was a no ball and a 4. So now there's a free hit. And Kane Williamson has gotten running. That's what happened as soon as the cricket connoisseur joined us.
Cricket,
right?
Exactly. Crickets. With the lot. cricket. And people out there saying Scottish accent, that does not sound Scottish.
No, Scottish is, I'm from Edinburgh. I'm Scottish. I'm Scottish. That is Scottish. That's about it. That's the extent of my accents, unfortunately.
I appreciate the effort.
It's all right.
That's all I'll say.
I do. Aaron, let me ask you a question, Aaron. How do you feel about this toss? Somebody sent it to me on Twitter and basically said, listen, if whoever wins the toss has about a 70-80% chance of winning. And I'm telling you right now, cricket, there's a big YouTuber that just does basically American content. All he does is like baseball, football. And this guy's super cool. I love his stuff. And, you know, I'm not one of those guys that hates. I try to promote everybody. Like, hey, man, get out there. Let it be a community. He recently had a baby, so he was on a hiatus. And I didn't realize he was actually born in Australia, even though he grew up in New York. His name is John Boy. He does like ridiculous, not made for TV, not made for kids, by the way, guys. All right. He's a Yankee fan, and what I love about him is all his breakdowns are super funny because he trolls in his breakdowns. He does not do any like in-depth analysis. His thing is, let me take a game and I'm gonna troll a big moment. You guys know what he trolled: the back-to-back sixes or the 3 6s by Wade, the drop. But the way he does it, because he does like voiceovers, is so funny. I'll send you guys the link for it. But anyway, John Boy has like, you know, close to 1 million subscribers. Or not. He started doing that. He actually is the guy that discovered the Astros cheating scandal. You guys remember about the camera, the Astros, the banging? He's the guy that discovered it and made a video trolling them. And that's how he became famous. Now on cricket. Bro, Australia going to I mean, people are paying attention here in the States. And I guarantee you, let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Zampa. And you know I put him as my vice captain. Let's go to work, Adam Zampa. Put in that work. I love the ugly mullet. Oh, my gosh, I love that guy. Yo, he is so ugly with that mullet, but I love his wicket-taking skills. Oh.
So, Aaron, how do you feel being the president of the Spinners Union and seeing what he just did to one of the guys you were expecting a lot of runs from?
It's bittersweet. I'm going to be completely honest because, I am part of the Spinners Union. I'll always sing and heap praise upon my fellow spin badgers. And Adam Zampa, again, he's been criminally underrated over the years. I appreciate now the fact that he's, you know, willing to come out there and actually say that. It shows he's got some confidence with regards to spin bowling. Now, it's always a good sign when a spinner comes out fighting like that. It shows they're up for the game. So obviously it's good. As a fellow spinner, you love to see your spinners doing well. We are part of the Spinners Union. Obviously, Adam Zampa, much more talented than I am. Let's just say I won't be appearing in any T20 World Cup finals anytime soon. But obviously for New Zealand, Martin Gaptel, that's bad. That's really bad for the Kiwis.
Yes.
That's a really bug wicket.
He's had what do you have, like 86 in one innings earlier this year, and he's the other guy along with Kane Williamson that can hurt you. So now I feel like Kane Williamson is going to try to slow down the scoring because if he loses his wicket, this thing is done. So right now that was a huge wicket, and Adam Zampa, to your point, is criminally underrated. I think it's because he doesn't make any appearances on the test side because, of course, they've got the legend Nathan Lyon, bro. And everybody says in Australia, I mean, T20 doesn't really matter. It's all about tests. But people got to pay attention to Adam Zampa. He is amazing.
If they win, sorry, Gabe. Sorry, if Australia win, I'm sure it's going to be very important in Australia afterwards. So that's the thing. That's what happens. As soon as you win a championship, it's going to burst a new life, the T20 scene, I think. Right. And sorry to interrupt, by the way.
No. But I wanted to actually get your thought on it because now, again, this is John Boy Media has actually become pretty huge. He's done interviews with American baseball players, basketball players. He's hilarious. Now he's paying attention to cricket. I told Nick, wow, finally, at least you know what I mean? Like, we got other Americans involved. You know, that's great. But the minute they see this kind of thing, people are going to lose their minds. And I hate being American-centric. But we got to pay attention to the fact that the tosses, they've got to do something different with the toss, man. Because if it's that glaring of an issue, it's way too much of an advantage to leave it to chance. How do you feel, Aaron?
It's an interesting one because, well, I'll actually give you the stat. 16 of the last 17 matches in Dubai have been won by the team batting second. However, and I know these are different circumstances, it is a domestic final, but on the one occasion where the team batting first won, it was the IPL final, CSK versus the Kolkata Knight Riders. So if you put runs on the board, you can apply pressure. You never want to chase in a final because the weight of the world's on your shoulders when you're going out there to bat, in particular when some early wickets fall. But with regards to the toss, I'm going to be honest, this whole, tosses win matches and all of that stuff that we've been seeing on Twitter, teams have to adapt. Yeah. How long has the T20 format been around for now? Since 2003, 18 years. Every single year, it's not a case of win the toss and win the game. Okay, we see this in the T20 Blast, the Big Bash, domestic leagues all over the world. It's not always the case. So the fact is, if a team does go out there and loses the toss, show intent. Go out there, try and hit some sixes, try and hit some fours. The fact is, tonight in a final, you've got no other chances. This is last chance saloon. Go out there, you've got one shot, and not to sound like Eminem, but you've got to make it count. Okay, it's as simple as that. So tonight, show intent, go out there. The toss is irrelevant in a final. Anything can happen. Look at 2016, for example, with Carlos Brathwaite. Literally anything can happen in a final. So get that negativity out of your mind. If you're New Zealand, go out there, apply the pressure, put some, put some sixes into the crowd, but there haven't been too many sixes tonight. But yeah, go out there and put the pressure back on the Aussies. Give them something to actually chase.
I love your response there. And again, going back to the IPL, you're right. IPL also had I think it was 14 or 15 or something like that. But ultimately, CSK won in the final after losing the toss. So it can be done. You just have to approach the game differently and come out with intent. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm not one trying to change the game. I'm just saying, I know, from a betting standpoint, I know odds makers will have a tough time because they're going to say, oh, man, if somebody wins the toss, that changes it. So maybe odds maker in Vegas will be and I don't know because I haven't seen it on the boards yet, but they're probably listen, we don't, after the right before the toss, that's what we cut it off. Or because, you know what I mean? Now you're betting on the game before the toss because after the toss, you know that there's going to be an advantage, and that's probably what happens. But I just thought it was an interesting dynamic, man. And I'm glad to get both of your perspectives. But guys, people are paying attention here in the States, which I don't want to sound so excited, oh, okay, America is paying attention or whatever. But bro, ESPN, regular reporters are now starting to pay attention. And we had the Australia, I forgot who mentioned it. And they mentioned it in passing. It'll be on ESPN Plus. It was throwing a morsel. Here's a little morsel cricket. You know what I mean? But to mention it on the mother channel, to say, oh yeah, we were going to be streaming the IPL, the World T20 finals, cricket finals, that's huge. And I think that, to your point, when you start winning, it matters. It all has to do with USA winning and getting ready to qualify 6 in a row, because now Americans are we are the most egocentric people there are. We're horrible people. We are, actually. Oh, we're winning? We got a shot. Oh, wait, let's go. Now we're excited about cricket. Now we're excited about cricket. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
May I just say, Gabe, congratulations, by the way, to the USA for those qualifiers. Absolutely superb. And again, I will sing the praises of Cricket USA in terms of what they've done since 2020 with minor league cricket, major league cricket as well. I always call it the great frontier. It's the frontier. It's the market which cricket hasn't quite penetrated just yet. But I'll tell you what, it's a matter of time. It really is. And honestly, fantastic to see. Also, I think, who was it? I think it was Malhotra. I think he's been selected for the T10, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be interesting as well. An American in the T10. But we'll have to wait and see how cricket in the USA develops. I do think as soon as it gets into the mainstream, I think America will be a sleeping giant, to be honest.
How does he hit a one-handed six?
I know he's channeling his inner Rishabh Pant. Yeah, thank you. And another 6, 2 sixes. I'm supporting Australia. Why am I getting excited? Kane Williamson is so good. He's made me forget who I'm supporting today. That's shocking, isn't it? Right? I'm wearing black and yellow and white. I'm just wearing all the colors, so you can just guess who I'm supporting.
Thank you, Varun, because Varun's get him out. Listen, Aaron, I know that Ozjad knows this, right? I had only watched Kane Williamson in IPL. I hadn't watched a lot of New Zealand. And New Zealand is sneaky good. That's why I had to give him credit. And from what I had seen, recency bias, plus it's all I knew. We've only been watching cricket for a year and a half, 2 years, right? I mean, this guy's trash, whatever. Bro, he came in and smacked my West Indies for like 147 runs and test. That was like painful. They could not get this guy out. And then I'm like, oh, whatever. He's just a test guy. Oh, really, Gabe? Really? Smack this in T20 too. Like, Kane Williamson is the bane of my existence. I hate this guy with a passion. I appreciate his talent. I really, really do. But he's like he's the Aussie killer, bro. He's the West Indies killer. This guy's a monster. Oh, I hate him. I hate him with a passion.
Oh,
He should have smashed.
He's 50.
Oh, 51 of 33 balls now. He's doing well.
I don't have my cap. I don't have my sailor's hat. I'm fuming. Carry us home, Kane. Go on. Man. Steady the ship, as they say in New Zealand.
Kane Williamson, right? You always have a chance. And guys, that quickly went from the 11th over, there were 76 for 2, to now 96 for 2 in the 13th over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what just happened, bro?
97
Kane
now.
Williamson, 97. You know what? The guy, get him out. Get him out. Oh, my gosh. This is
Gabe, there's a comment by Abilash saying Kane is in the Fab Four. Of course he is. He's so amazing. Like, honestly, right? He doesn't do his record in T20s. It doesn't look very good, but it's just talent. That's the thing. Aaron, you say all the time, class is permanent, right? It doesn't matter which format it is. Form keeps coming and going, but he's good in tests. He's good in ODIs. His record doesn't say he's great in T20s. But, dude, he's showing it in the final of all places, in the final showing it. I think he's in my fantasy team, so I'm really happy, right? So, yeah, all's good. All's good in that front.
May I just say as well, with Kane Williamson, okay, not only is he a sensational cricketer, a generational talent in New Zealand itself, but my goodness, isn't he a likeable chap?
Oh,
he really is. After the 2019 World Cup, you can imagine the heartbreak which was going on inside that camp, inside that dressing room, and back home in New Zealand itself. And he fronted up to the media, and this guy got a standing ovation after that final. This guy is universally adored, and whenever you watch Kane Williamson, it feels as though the world stops. And I say that about very, very few players. Joe Root's another one. I think that Babar Azam's another one. Virat Kohli is another one. Steve Smith as well, when we see him tonight, because he's got legions of fans across the world. But Kane Williamson has such a majesty, an elegance, a presence, a panache about his batting that you're just forced to watch. There's something almost hypnotic about it. And that is why he's such a brilliant, brilliant batsman and a great leader as well. Sam Curran actually mentioned this, as did Rob Key, on the Sky Sports broadcast before a ball was bowled in this game. And it's all about being ice cool, level-headed, being assured, because T20 is a chaotic and unpredictable format. When the chips are down, when the pressure's on, when your backs are against the wall, you need a leader to shine out and be the example. Kane Williamson personifies that absolutely magnificently.
Yeah. Man, well said, brother. Well said. I couldn't say it any better myself. And, you know, I made the mistake of criticizing his play. And he's a player that shows up for the big games. And he's a player that shows up when they need him. And he's absolute class, man. Absolute class. One of the best in the world. And, again, this is... The Aussies need to get him out, because if not, I'm telling you, that he is super, super dangerous. Oh, my gosh.
Sorry,
go on, Ashjad. Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's a couple of comments about Kane Williamson in 2018, the IPL. I should have said T20 Internationals, his record isn't great. Let me correct myself. T20 Internationals, his record isn't great. But, of course, he's a fantastic batsman. Have you seen him play? Exactly what Aaron said. He is absolute class. There's certain players in the world right now that can just do everything, and they look amazing while doing it. And yeah, in terms of keeping ice cool, I know Rob Key named a couple of captains: MS Dhoni, Owen Morgan, and Kane Williamson. All of them are ice cool captains, and those are the types of captains you need.
They are indeed.
Absolutely.
And again, in the chat, we haven't really seen it so far. I think Mr. T has actually just put it in there. I was about to mention this guy, but Glenn Phillips, the man nicknamed the Dragon because of his fiery personality down in Gloucestershire. He's a serious, serious talent. Let me just tell you this right now. I've been watching this guy since about 2017 for the Auckland Aces back in New Zealand. Been brilliant as well. for the Jamaica Tallawahs. He's a very powerful, innovative and destructive batsman on his day. Hasn't had the greatest of World Cups, but he loves the big occasions and he will give absolutely every fibre of his being to ensure that New Zealand succeed in this game tonight. So we're all talking about Kane Williamson, and rightfully so. The man is a master of this game. But Glenn Phillips, beware the dragon. That's all I'll say.
Speaking of the
Beware
dragon,
the dragon. I love it.
it's very Bruce Lee-esque, like a Bruce Lee film. I was gonna say, did he score like quite recently in the past year and a half? He scored an amazing 100, didn't he? Of like 50 balls.
For Gloucestershire against
Yeah.
Glamorgan. Oh my goodness, some of the shots there. I've been to Bristol. And can I just say, Bristol as a ground, amazing venue, great fans. And a lovely thing about that ground, it didn't used to have flats, but now people actually live at the ground. So if you live there,
Wow.
and Glenn Phillips is, he's batting and he's in some form, expect some broken windows, expect some insurance payouts. But my goodness, brilliant batsman. What an innings that was. And there was one shot, I think it was against Dan Douthwaite, and he went on one knee. I call it the marriage proposal, because he went down on one knee and scooped it out of Bristol, sent it into the Bristol Channel. Amazing. I love him. And as Reno will know from my time, covering the CPL, the Caribbean Premier League, I'm a Jamaica Tallawahs fan. Glenn Phillips over the years has given me so many fantastic memories. So Glenn Phillips, I hope he scores some runs. I hope I haven't just cursed him, because I usually do when I say that on live watch-alongs. But this boy, serious player, and watch out for him.
I tell you what, man, bro, well said. And again, there's so much talent. I will say this. I'm trying to find a comment that somebody put in here a minute, and I mentioned this briefly in I think it was in the somebody made a comment like, why do people underestimate New Zealand continuously? And it was when Nick and I were picking, I think, New Zealand versus Pakistan. No, you're fine. And
Phillips just hit 6.
Oh, of course he did. Oh,
my boy,
man, Glenn Phillips.
Get in. I didn't curse him.
It was straight away. Dude, that was a beautiful 6. And here's the thing. This is why even I underestimated New Zealand. All right, numbers matter. I'm sorry, they do. They've got 5 million people. All right, I remember doing the math. The West Indies as a nation, because they have so many different places, I think it's like 46 million or something like that, right? England has like 160 million. Okay. 60 million, I think it is. But I think who was it? Is it Australia has 45 million? India 2 billion. It'd be like listen. How do they compete when they have such a small player pool to select from? Is it like every single person in New Zealand is just genetically blessed that they're able? It's insane. 5 million people. Yes, Delhi has 20 million people alone. Nevada, where I live in, is a state that now has 3 million people. 3 million in one state. All right, we're like at 2.8, 2.9, and New Zealand has 5 million people, and they're banging and competing with the best of the best in the world. They should have won, and let's be honest, they should have beat England. I'm sorry, England fans.
I tend to disagree, even though I'm back in the Black Caps today.
The short run. I'm not even going to talk about the Ben Stokes incident, right? Because we don't know. He couldn't possibly plan that, or maybe he did. But there was a short run there too, right? So it should have never gone to a super over. And that is one of the dumbest rules I ever heard about. Whoever hits the most boundaries, come on, Aaron. Whoever hits the most boundaries, you got to be sick to your stomach.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't like the rule either. I've said this afterwards. I said it at the time as well. But you go into that game, both sides know exactly what to do when that super over came about. So, again, they were playing to the rules. Was it a stupid rule? Absolutely. I don't want to see it ever again.
I would say the players knew the rule. I don't think the fans knew the rule, because everybody's like, are you kidding me? But the point is, they were there. They just beat India, all right, in the World Test Championship, and they're right now banging out with Australia for the World T20 Championship. Don't tell me this isn't one of the best teams in the world. If not right now, the best team in the world as a whole. All 3 formats, and they've got 5 million people there. I explain it. Somebody explain it to me. I don't understand that.
I will try, if I may. And I think that something which is important, and I believe it actually is in the comments, is GDP. So the actual, the wealth of New Zealand. New Zealand is an economically rich country. So first of all, they can afford high performance centres. And something in New Zealand, this isn't just with cricket, but rugby as well. The performance pathways are absolutely incredible. Some of the best in the world. Players from New Zealand always say that. They say they're better than here in England, South Africa, India, wherever. They are some of the finest sporting pathways on the entire planet. Potentially they could match the USA's. That's how good they are. Another thing as well with New Zealand is, it's also recruitment as well. This is the thing, when people say about England and they call us the World 11, right? Because we have players from Barbados and South Africa. Yeah, exactly. But the fact is New Zealand do import some players from Australia. They import some from England and South Africa as well. Devon Conway is a South African's name, but Colin de Grandhomme, he's not playing today, but he's from Zimbabwe. And they hone these players into the very, very best players that they can be. Now, when you do that, what that allows is for these players to go overseas. And this is the second bit of why New Zealand are so good. They all play in leagues all around the world. How many New Zealand players compared to a Bangladesh or Sri Lanka play in the IPL? It's loads. It's loads. Every single year we see the likes of Williamson, Ferguson, Ross Taylor used to be a stalwart in the IPL, Dan Vettori as well for my team of RCB. If we're talking all the way back in the day as well, Shane Bond was another one. But to name a few, Colin de Grandhomme as well for RCB, Anish Sodhi for the Rajasthan Royals. So what this high performance pathway does is allow these guys to have as many opportunities as possible. And it allows them to grow their game. It allows them to learn and rub shoulders with the best of the best in India, in England, in the Caribbean. And what this culminates in is a fantastic team. A team which, to be honest, many people do underestimate. I'm going to be completely honest, because we look at the population, 5 million. How are they competing with India or England or the West Indies? Real established titans of the cricketing environment. But the fact is, this is paying off for New Zealand in sensational fashion. I couldn't be happier for them as well, because they are a great, great bunch of lads. We all know that. They're some of the nicest players on the planet. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting when Kane does eventually retire, as to see, which leaders do step up to the plate. Can they replicate the success? That will be a real litmus test for New Zealand in the near future. But I'll tell you what, while Kane's at the helm, steadying the ship, watch out for New Zealand. They really are a powerhouse to contend with.
Guys, CFA Nation, those of you that are in here, we got 200 right now watching us. If you do not already follow this man, please go to Twitter right now. Go follow the Cricket Connoisseur. I mean, he's a dearth of knowledge. This guy's amazing. Again, Azjad, he always provides us with it. I've learned so much from Azjad, and now following you and trying to follow your podcast, that's where I'm starting to really, go with experts of the game and trying to understand what's going on. And you guys know the intricacies that we as Americans don't know, having only followed the game for 2 years. And Renil has been saying the same thing. That's the biggest issue with the West Indies is management. It sounds as if the management from New Zealand has figured it out and gotten it right, and the West Indies has gotten it wrong. And man, dude, I'm just sitting here listening to you. I am often very not silent ever. Tell him, Azjad. Tell him. It's hard for me to be silent ever. And I'm just sitting here like a little kid in the candy shop, like, oh man, just please soak it in, because you are so knowledgeable. And guys, right now, go and find them so you don't forget. Put your handle, man, right there in the chat. I think you should have access to do so. But Cricket Connoisseur, I'm following him already on Twitter, guys, and he's got his own podcast, YouTube channel. So, oh my God, yeah, Kane Williamson. I'm sorry, dude. I'm over here trying to give you props, but Kane Williamson is driving me crazy.
14 runs in 3 balls. Kane.
Yeah, that 6 was amazing. Good. Stark is getting pooped. Oof. And just to add on to your point, Gabe, when you listen to James Earl Jones, you want him to keep talking, right? It's like that. You just want to, all right, yeah, just keep going, man. Keep going. That's what happens.
It isn't.
Azjad, when am I ever quiet? Never. I'm gonna tell Nick, hey, run this back, Nick. Run this back. This is how you shut Gabe up, all right? Because I was just like, wow, this just an abundance of knowledge, man. And dude, again, I'm so happy you agreed to join us again. And again, Azjad has been dealing with us. Luckily, I already promised Nick today. That was our deal. He said, Gabe, now you got some real cricket fans on. Please don't go too crazy and don't say anything too dumb. So I've got a list of things I'm not allowed to say today. So I'm gonna. One of them is match fixing. I'm gonna make sure I fight the best not to say it. Okay. And he also told me I couldn't use any of his puns because only he can make them funny. So I won't, be using any wood puns or anything to that effect. But it's amazing what Williamson is doing right now, and I am so frustrated. 50 partnership for Kane and your boy Glenn also putting in work. And you said Glenn Phillips, and this game just got real. They and 3 overs have just made this a game, and now I am worried, bro.
Right. So I just want to keep telling you, honestly, as an Australian supporter today, even then, I'm enjoying what Kane Williamson is doing right now. Look, that shot, that face that you've just made, Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
That's my reaction to the shot you just made behind backward point. I was like, what? This is just, he's a genius. Kane Williamson, I'm sorry I said you have a terrible T20 eye record, all right? He's on 77. He's on 77 of 40, 41, 42 balls. 41 balls, goodness me.
Not just that as well. Can we just appreciate the movement as well? It's absolutely top-notch. It really is. He's creating so many different angles of attack. Yeah. And what did I say? Intent, aggression, attack the Aussies. He's applying so much pressure. He's just hit another 4. New Zealand 136 for 2.
Stark, 50 runs off his 3 overs. An economy of 16 points.
Hootie! Mitchell Stark just got Hootie. He needs to go take a shower. So, Renil, send him a case of the blue soap. Oh my, Hootie! Mitchell Stark, how dare you? How dare you? In the biggest stage. Oh, I'm disgusted, Mr.
The 3 fastest T20 World Cup 50s. You got Shoaib Malik, KL Rahul, and Mitchell Stark.
Yeah. Oh, that's so harsh.
Oh, that is awesome. Yes, Asjan. Thank you. Hootie. Mitchell Stark got Hootie in 3 overs. He got Hootie in 3 overs. Oh, get the shower. Mitchell Stark officially has joined today, guys.
Oh, now the chats have started, Ashdad. Look what you've started. Congratulations on your 50 half century up for start.
Oh my gosh!
Comments as a comparison as a 2 overs 6 runs. Cummins given, and Stark is like, yeah, I'm just gonna start getting it.
I believe that's a wide.
Yes. Ooh, a wide by Cummins. 3.5 economy now, rather than 16.7. That's outrageous, man. That is outrageous.
Let me ask you guys a question. Give me a prediction right now. I say this is going to about 170, and I hate it. I would not have never said that.
185. I think 185.
Goodness me, that's a tough one.
Last 4 overs. I'm telling you, Stark is still going to bowl. Stark is still going to bowl in the last 4 overs, right?
He's done. JL's going to sack him right now. Stark has an injury. Get out, Stark.
He still has another over as well.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me.
Out there. What do you think, Aaron? Give me a total. I say 170, 175. We got Ajay 185. How blasphemer!
I'm going to go in the middle then. I'm going to go with 181. That's what I'm going to go with. I think that's a pretty competitive total.
So tough to chase. How did these guys do this? I started in the 8th. They're going to blame me, by the way. Okay, Australia's going to ban me. Good thing USA cricket is starting to do well because I'm telling you, the West Indies have already disowned me. All right, I better never go to the Caribbean. I'm going to get punched in the face by John Campbell or, somebody. I hope at least the universe boss still loves me. And Australia's, they were dominating this game when I came on. And somehow they went from like 8 overs and 51 runs to now they're in the death and they've given up 139 runs and they still have to get through 4 overs.
There does seem to be some dew. Because I just saw Cummins kind of wiping the dew off the ball. So could be the reason why.
It could be a ploy.
I told you.
Could be mind
I
games.
told you.
Oof.
I told you. Aaron, are there any places you're not allowed to visit? Because I can't. Me and Nick, there's certain places we're not allowed to go. Nick at one point pissed off the Brahmi army, and Jody made him apologize because she's European. She's got some English in her family. She wants to go. That's on her bucket list. She wants to go to England. And she's like, you better apologize to Joe Root. I want to be able to really walk the streets of England. I want to be able to walk the streets of London. So Nick had to apologize to the Brahmi army. I have yet to apologize to John Campbell, but I had to apologize to Jamaica and
There's
many
time now,
Caribbean
Gabe.
fans.
Always time right now. No time like the present, eh?
I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Listen, hey, you know what? John Campbell could come up and smack me in the face and I would take it. But I would tell him, you're still bad. You're still bad. Being honest. Listen, you're still bad. It's just that simple. But is there a place that you're not allowed to go to? Because I think I'm about to get banned from Australia. Because somehow they've let this game go through the... They've given this game up. I'm not going to say it, Nick. I promise you, this was going to be a professional stream, okay? We've got the cricket connoisseur on. I do not want to disappoint myself. Oh, come on, Asha! You're going to get it out of me. Nick's going to get mad at me. No! Oh. I guess it's okay, Asha, because it wasn't me. But
yeah.
What just happened? We went from 51 in 9 overs 141 runs. I can't explain it.
It's Kane Williamson. He is an absolutely brilliant batsman. What he's done, he's literally just done exactly what I was saying he can't do in T20s, right? Honestly, he's just batted brilliantly. On top of that, Stark hasn't bowled well particularly. He's looked like a shadow of himself. He looks like the guy who bowled the 20th over against Pakistan, not the 18th over, which only went for like 3-4 runs. But Cummins is looking good, though. Cummins is looking good for Australia out there.
I mean, this over has actually saved Australia. Cummins is only giving up, 4? He had the wide, so he's giving up 5 runs. But, man, the prior overs, 22 runs. The over before that, he should be disgusted in himself. Then it was 12. Mitchell getting pumped for 22 runs, and then 12 the over before that. This has been an amazing over, even though it was 2 runs there, 8 runs, and that 1 over took a little bit of pressure off, but they've still got to get through 3 overs, and they're already at 144. I'm not feeling good about my 175 prediction. I'm really not. I'm so frustrated right now.
Gabe, there's a super chat, by the way. Oh, all right, go for it.
Oh, here it goes.
Arco, yeah.
Batting is not all about power. It's about knowing where the fielders are and having the skill set to find the gaps and manipulate the field. Hail King Kane. Thank you for the super chat, Ray. And, Aaron and both Azja were the first people, Azja specifically, to explain and always tell me, listen, watch the batter's feet. It's about not getting stuck in the crease. It's about being able to attack the ball where it's being bowled at. And that is my West Indies' biggest weakness, if I could say that. These guys get stuck in the crease and they just go for power as opposed to manipulating the ball and batting to the field, so to speak. So well said, Ray. And I know both of you have mentioned that in the past. Tell me about how important it is, because both of you are bowlers as well, how important it is to do that.
There is a little bit of a game update. The dragon has been slain by
Dragon has, yeah.
And I'm watching it right now. There we go. The dragon is slain. Hazelwood gets Glenn Phillips out. Caught by Maxi. Oh, Maxi. Bro, with the man bun. I'm not sure about that man bun. Oh, Maxi. Gone. But you know what, dude? It's somebody said poor shot selection. Listen, he did his job, guys. He did his job and he didn't waste, his strike rate was 130, 140. That's what you want. Wow. Oh, did it go down to 106? Wow, it was 130 the 2 overs before. Oh, because of the over by
Cummins. Yeah.
By Cummins. That was a great over by Cummins. So it was 130 before that Cummins over. So these last 2 overs have been good. Josh Hazelwood, who, by the way, also performed really well for CSK and helped them win that championship. He's a criminally underrated Aussie bowler because, of course, you've got the Patty Cummins in the world, the big names. But I think this guy is maybe Patty Cummins light. And bro, I got killed when I said that. I didn't say he's Patty Cummins. Come on. Patty Cummins is the best a man could be. I'm jealous of Patty Cummins, all right? My wife can have a picture of Patty Cummins right by the nightstand, and I wouldn't be mad. I mean, he's the best a man could be. I'm jealous he is. But Josh Hazelwood is Patty Cummins light. Let's be honest, gentlemen. He may get pumped here and there, but the guy takes wicket. He has serious pace. I love Patty Cummins.
Oh, he's brilliant. He really is brilliant. Pat Cummins, Kagiso Rabada, Jofra Archer, Jasprit Bumrah, up there with some of the best in the world. They really are. Trent Bolt as well tonight, may I just say. I know we haven't spoken much about New Zealand's bowling just yet. We'll talk about that when they actually start bowling. But Trent Bolt doesn't usually have two bad back-to-back games. Yeah. He had a poor game against England. I expect him to come back with a vengeance tonight. So watch out for Trent Bolt. The Aussies have a lot of right-handers. He's going to have that angle coming in and out against their top order. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, with regards to... Sorry, Gabe, go on.
No, I'm sorry. How do you attack Kane Williamson? He gets a school shot for a 4. How do you get this guy out? For the love of
I was about to say he's just got another 4, hasn't he? My boy, steady the ship, Kane. Bring it home.
Steady the ship. He's striking at 190, dude. Isn't he?
He's at the wheel. He's steering the ship. He's not steadying it. He's got the sails down. He's sailing it all the way to T20 World Cup glory. Come on, Kane. Let's get it done, mate.
One of the greatest performances you guys might have seen by a batsman in the T20 final. To your point, 190. He's at 184 right now. 85 for 40. I mean, 6. Are you serious?
He's out. Kane Williamson's out. Williamson's out.
You're celebrating. You're celebrating, Ashja. That is shameless.
I'm supporting Australia.
85 from 48 balls. A man celebrating as though he's just got out for a golden duck. That is shameless behaviour.
That really is. See how he got out.
Kane, my guy, thank you. Brilliant innings. We talk about memorable knocks. We really do. I think of Shane Watson in the 2018 IPL final, to name but one. This is Kane Williamson at his best. We will talk about this innings for eons to come. This has gone down in the hallowed halls of cricketing history for the remainder of time. So Kane Williamson, take a bow. You've done your job yet again. When the chips are down, when New Zealand's back are against the wall, Kane Williamson delivers. Call him Amazon Prime. So yeah, let's. Who's coming in now? Is it Tim Seifert?
Yeah, it'll be Seifert and Neesham batting together. They're both
Tim's
amazing as well.
What a knock! I have to give a credit there to Kane Williamson. To your point, what an amazing innings! Again, he's been there practically from the beginning, right? Guys, watch that. Watch the replay. I'm sure most of you already watched the replay, and that's why pace matters. That actually got on him a little bit, and he couldn't maintain the grip of the bat. So you saw the bat shake on him when he hit it, and he couldn't keep the bat face straight, and that's why it was able to. And that's where pace will be good batting when you make the right bowling selection, and you have your right line and length. And that was a beautiful. Again, people just do not value Josh Hazelwood. I saw this year in CSK what he's worth. I get it. The Australian bowlers, he gets overshadowed by the Patty Cummins, the Mitchell Starks, of course they've got on the test team, Lions, but this guy is so good, it's ridiculous.
3 for 16 in his 4 overs. Outstanding. Compare that to Mitchell Stark, right? 15 in 3 overs.
If Australia wins, man of the match right there. He got the biggest wicket. In my opinion. I mean, you got to give Hazelwood credit. That's 2-wicket haul in 1 over, guys. 2 wickets. He gave up 5 runs. Is that the match right there? If Australia wins, that's the man of the match, and I will lose my mind. I don't care what anybody on the batting says. Give it to the bowler. That's in a World T20 when Mitchell Stark got pumped for 22. Come on, you cannot tell me that's not the best over so far we've seen in this particular game, and probably to get that haul, get both slay the dragon, your dragon, Glenn Phillips and Kane Williamson. Salute to you, my friend, Josh Hazelwood. Get that IPL money.
He has been absolutely sensational tonight. And something I love about Josh Hazelwood, he keeps it so simple. He doesn't have a load of bag of tricks. He doesn't try and change it too much per delivery. He just hits the deck, hits that hard length. He knows exactly what suits him. as a bowler, and it's worked so well for CSK. He's translated that now into success in this year's World Cup as well. Josh Hazelwood is an absolute monster. He really is, and he is highly touted by Australian fans. They absolutely love him. The key thing now, though, for the Kiwis, we need a flourish. I say we as though I'm like a lifetime Black Caps fan, but the likes of Neesham, Seifert, hey, Mitch Santner as well. Don't discount him. Tim Southey at the end of an innings can also hit a 6 or 2. So, yeah, I think the 180 might be a little bit of a bridge too far now, unless one of these 2 overs goes for a lot of runs. I'm talking 16 to 18 runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, the New Zealanders definitely need a bit of a flourish here, to say the least.
Can we agree that Han Solo is absolutely the king of trolls? Okay. Yes. Hazelwood is slightly inferior to Tom Curran. How dare you? How dare you? Even Tom Curran would tell you, oh, come on, dude. Come on. Stop. You know what I mean? Are you serious right now? Come on.
In Tom Curran's defense, he used to be a very, very good bowler. He did, but then again, people just found out his tricks. This is the issue. He used to go to, the Yorkers a lot. He hasn't. I'd love to know his stats actually with regards to the amount of Yorkers he bowls, because he doesn't seem to bowl as many anymore. But the change of pace, people began to read him, and as soon as you're read as a bowler, it spells trouble, and that's why that coming rate goes up, the average goes down.
Aaron, he misses them a lot more now than
he misses those Yorkers a lot more. Yeah, I just saw that reaction. Yeah, I saw that reaction by Azad. Azad's got killer internet, by the way. All right, are you close to wherever Azad is? Because apparently, where he's at in England, they get they've got that Jeff Bezos internet. All right, they've got that $1 billion internet over there. Straight away, 6 hit there by Jimmy Neesham, and man, they do, to your point, that tail can wag, right? They got some guys that can, Tim Seifert, they got some guys that can put up some 6s. So this game's not over, and the Aussies have to be cautious to remember that it was the tail end that wagged with Wade for them in the last game. So do not take your foot off the gas. And I'm just interested to see. Right now, we're in the 19th over. They've given it to Patty Cummins. Patty Cummins, hasn't taken a wicket, but his economy rate 630. Who's gonna get the last over, the 20th over? Please, you gotta avoid Mitchell Starc at all costs.
Marsh potentially.
Mitchell Marsh. I put Mitchell Marsh back out there. You cannot give it to Mitchell Starc again. You can't do it.
If it was my choice, I'd give it to Starc because it's Mitchell Starc. But you could give it to someone like Stoinis or someone I think
Darryl Delhi. Do you remember that in 2020 against Punjab?
Yeah.
He got them to super over, but then again, and that's different. That's an IPL group stage game. This is the T20 World Cup final.
Probably going to be Starc though. I think Starc seems even though he's been pumped for 50 runs, I think that's the choice they're going to go with because he's the tried and tested person, right?
You guys have explained that to me in the past. You got to go with your tried and tested guys, but he's missing his lines. He's missing his lines. He's bowling right there in the slot where these guys can just extend. I mean, he's got to do something different. If I'm Starc, then I'm just doing something different, and maybe I throw a full toss the very first ball, try to surprise somebody, do something, because he's missing his lines, man. It's so frustrating.
I don't like the look of the chats. People are saying out. Please don't break my heart.
I'm watching it right now.
No.
It's close, and I paused my channel, so I don't know what's actually happened. So don't worry, I won't spoil it for you guys either. It's 161 for 4 or 5, depending.
If you don't spoil it, Crickinfo's notifications are going to spoil it for me in about 10 seconds, so you might as well.
He's in.
Get in. Fantastic.
He is in. Also, just wanted to say, there's 200 people in the chat. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please do. Please do check out Cricket for Us 2.0. Just thought I'd plug myself in, as well as the Cricket Connoisseur here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on whatever other platforms he is. Just type it on Google, you'll find him. And there we have it, folks. Last over.
My research for these last few games, have been following both Azad and the Cricket Connoisseur. I've been so busy. And honestly, this has been a big weekend in Vegas for the MGM. We got so many things going on. It's insane. And I'm like, all right, what are they saying? Let me pay attention to what they're saying because they're so knowledgeable. Please, right now, 211 in the chat, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But go over there. Again, Cricket for Us 2.0. the Cricket for Us 2.0 is one of the funniest stories ever. But Ozad's been one of the very first day one guys, and he's helped us grow as a channel, helped me and Nick acquire more knowledge. Now the Cricket Connoisseur on here, back-to-back streams, appreciate it so much, and following his content, and that's how the community grows, guys. Keep embracing everybody that's in the community. A lot of time is dedicated to this. Everybody's got families and stuff. So, guys, I really appreciate you both joining me here on a Sunday morning. And man, it's I'm watching this right now. And this is it. This is it. You guys called it. You guys called it. They went back to Mitchell Stark. Oh my gosh.
I'm just sorry. I've just looked at the Crick Info chat, and the first thing that's come up. Stark onto bowl. Come on, Jimmy. 180, please. That is so hard. That is so hard.
First ball goes for four.
A four. What did I say?
Will he go for more than 70 runs? That's the real target, okay?
That's the Basil Tampi target. 2018 RCB versus Sunrisers. Basil Tampi went for 70 runs.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Runs. Oh my goodness. I mean, come on. That is ridiculous, bro. You had to go to somebody different. If he doesn't keep this under 175, I'm going to lose my mind.
Ooh, beautiful Yorker. Good.
We've
job.
just had a comment in the chat saying, what are the most expensive T20I bowling figures of all time? I know this actually. It's Kasim Rajita. None for 75. Sri Lanka versus Australia in, when was it? 2019, that would have been. 2019-20, that season. None for 75. So hopefully Stark won't break that record if you're an Aussie fan.
But I will... Now, sorry, Azad. I will now bequeath you the new name. You're united on CFA Nation as the encyclopedia, baby. All right. Iron is now the human encyclopedia because he's got all the cricket knowledge. And man, it's a dearth of knowledge over there. If he does that, he cannot freely walk the streets of Australia. And if he does, he better not eat out. He better not eat out because I could see somebody saying, yeah, enjoy that Big Mac. Enjoy that Big Mac, Mitchell Stark. I put a special sauce in there for you today. Jihan, I got you. What are you guys thinking? This guy, he second ball, dot ball. He's got to keep it under 175. He has to.
Yeah, I think 175 is difficult to go past unless Nisham does Nishamian things. I'll make something up. I'll make something up. But yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so if he can get 3 sixes or even 3 boundaries, that would be great from New Zealand's perspective. But under 175 would be absolutely ideal. And a dot ball. Stark, Mitchell Stark, you absolute beast. Yes. I have been so excited about dot balls, but today this is the most excited I've been about a dot ball. Just today.
Oh, who you telling, bro? Are you serious right now? I'll take every single dot ball. The way this guy got pumped and was giving away, 6s and 4s like they were free government cheese. You got to be kidding me.
It wasn't even a good ball. That's the thing. It wasn't the best of deliveries. He just didn't see where how much it would bounce. But otherwise, that would have gone for 6 too. Goodness me. Totally choked. Interesting.
Ooh.
Shoes
now,
issue.
To your point, and I just saw that it wasn't the best ball, but he got the effects.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, all they got to do is contain. Don't even try to get a wicket. 2 balls left here. Contain the scoring. All right. Bowl to your field. Don't do anything. I had said try like a full toss. Don't do that now. Because if it goes for a 6, now you're giving him a free 6. I always think that's the best thing to do. And maybe it's just still my novice as a new cricket fan. But I think guys use it at the wrong time. I would always go full toss after a guy's already hit a 6 or a long boundary, or at the very beginning of an over to try to surprise them. That's how I would use it. And again, I'm thinking in baseball the way we attack batters as pitchers. You know what I mean? And I'm sure this, as bowlers, you guys could both speak to it. You want to surprise them when you do those kind of things. When is the best time to go with a full toss?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. To be honest, I don't think as bowlers you intentionally go for the full toss. When you go for a full toss, that means you've misexecuted something. It's usually the Yorker right? So basically, you've missed your length ever so slightly. And in a game like cricket, the slightest of errors does result in a full toss. So I don't think you'd intentionally go for one. But in terms of when you would, most like one to come out. You never want a full toss to actually, come out of the hand and then it gets smacked for six. But I would agree probably. You want a low full toss maybe after a batsman's attack, because what we see sometimes in T20 cricket is that batsmen will score a six, and I'm talking in the middle overs, and they'll go, that's our boundary for the over. We'll just, nudge and nurdle it for the rest of it. Let's get 10, 11 runs from the over instead of thinking, let's get 16, 17, if not 18 runs. So that's when you'd maybe want one. But in terms of intentional full tosses, I never bowl them. I bowl a lot of full tosses, but they're always unintentional. That's the key thing, because I'm absolutely dreadful. But yeah, you don't bowl a full toss intentionally, because the problem is, in particular in international cricket, you're going to get dispatched. 9 times out of 10, these guys pick up the length nice and early, straight onto the bat, boom, 6 runs.
6 runs. I see what you're saying. And man, it looks like Matthew Wade got hurt diving there to save that boundary, but he sacrificed the body, right? And that's what you ask for, guys, to sacrifice the body. And what a strong over there from Mitchell Marsh after Hatton getting pumped for 22. You guys were right. You called it. You go with the experience, and he ends it on a good note. Keeps it under 175. Oh, there's still a ball to go. I thought that was the end there. He's got 1 ball to go.
Yep, it's gone for 2, hasn't it?
And 2 runs there. So 172 keeps it 1 after 175 after that horrendous 22 run over, only 10 runs in the over conceded. And again, that dive by Wade, it looks like he hurt his shoulder though. And Wade won the last game, so hopefully he's okay to bat. Hopefully the Aussies won't need him to bat. But man, still 61 runs in a World Cup championship. That's a terrible performance overall by Stark, but at least he rebounded in this 20th over.
You're on mute, Asjad.
I just realized that. The doctor says, Stark, thank you for your excellent service to Australian cricket. Enjoy retirement. I like that. That's pretty funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I'm just thinking now. Go on, Gabe.
No, I think it's an obtainable chase, but I really want to hear your thoughts, so please share.
Well, this is the highest ever score in a T20 World Cup final. That's the first thing to say. However, that is probably about it when it comes to positives for New Zealand with that total. It's a good total. It's more than defendable. Don't get me wrong. But think back to the semi-final. What did Pakistan get? 176?
Yeah.
Not mistaken, 176, 177. Australia chased that down in 19 overs. So again, if there is that due factor, which we've seen some hints now and again, there's not going to be loads. It's not going to be to the same extent of Sharjah, where it really does play a massive role in the outcome of a game. But if there is just that minimal bit of dew on that surface tonight, the ball coming onto the bat that little bit quicker to the Australians who love a bit of pace on the ball, that could prove to be problematic. The key for the Black Caps here, make early inroads. You have to get one of Finch and Warner out, I'd say within the first 2 overs. Put the pressure on, really put the Aussies under the pump and see what inroads you can make in that power play. If you get Australia 3 down in a World Cup final, it's a decent score. Anything can happen. But if you're New Zealand right now, I think they'll be slightly disappointed not to have got 180 plus. But with that being said, you've got Bolt, you've got Southey, you've got Ish Sodhi as well against a team which hasn't done well against leg spin in this year's tournament. Game on.
I think New Zealand has done more than that. Somebody said, Aaron says, New Zealand has just made the game eventful. No, New Zealand just made this a game because this is the highest. That's got to be in the back of Australia's mind. To your point, Aaron, this is the highest ever score in a championship match. And 1 or 2 wickets fall early, and that puts pressure on Australia right away, okay? This is not an easy chase by any stretch of the imagination. And can we just say that a team that lost their opening bowler, their best bowler, in my opinion, and Loki Ferguson, right? That was a huge loss. They lost him at the beginning of the tournament. That is just sad. And I hate when players go down to injury. And I'm just like, somebody hit me up on Twitter, and I forget who first broke the news. Who's missing today's game for New Zealand? Remind me here, guys.
Devon Conway.
Devon Conway, right? The South African. Bro, how did you guys How did you guys bungle that up? All right. I know South Africa right now is against South. We had him really. This is my South African accent. I don't know if it sounds like this.
Go on,
We
Gabe.
had him really. Why didn't anybody pay attention? Because since Devin Conway has started, this guy has been a monster for New Zealand. How do you let that guy go by? I don't know. That's South African. To Americans, that's what every accent sounds like.
What was that? This is a South African accent, Gabe. Okay, that's South African, Devin Conway. How did we let him go, bro? That's it. Okay, don't move the lips. For all of the viewers out there as well, okay? Go like this. Go like that. Don't move the lips. That's the key thing with South African. And then get it from the throats, okay? And you'll master it.
That's really good. That's
Thank
actually
you.
really
Dude,
good.
that's really good. But I mean, guys, give him some credit. And in the lobby, we've got Jihan waiting.
Wait.
Now, we went from objective opinions now to the most unobjective opinion. All right, guys. CFA Nation. All right. The man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Jihan, who is the biggest super fan I could ever imagine. This guy's prediction for every single test, Ashes 5-0, everything.
For who?
Ashes are always gonna not objective, but I love him for that. I love him for that because he's absolutely not objective, and he chose what real fans are, like myself, who have no objective opinions and will go in there and lose their minds and just absolutely. I guarantee you, he's gonna come on right now and say they'll chase it down by the 15th over. I want to hear this. I gotta hear this right now. Before I do, Ajad, share your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a defendable total, but it's still not 180, 185. It's if New Zealand bowl really, really well and Australia mess up, then obviously that's an obvious point. But Australia will need to mess up. It's not going to be easy sailing for New Zealand. And if you genuinely look at it, 2 wickets in the power play, ideally both the openers, that should be ideal. So Warner and Finch both need to go within the power play. You said in the first 2 overs, lose one another. I think in the power play, both of them need to go because both of them can change the game like that. And Warner's been on a tear, man, over the past, out of the last 5 games, he's scored in 3 of them, which is something that you haven't seen for like a year and a half. So it's very, very important that New Zealand get him out. Now, from an Australian standpoint, they don't need to go full hard from the beginning. Even in the power play, just conserve their wickets, and then they have the rest of the 14 overs to go a little more aggressive. That's my take on it. 172 is not 185. It's not 190. And Dew's going to come into play more and more throughout the night. So that's my take on it. Also, just want to say, I do have to go in about 2-3 minutes. So for everyone watching, please like, share, and subscribe to Cricket for Americans, an amazing channel, and just comment why Gabe is the best host in CFA history. In the chat, right? There we go. Those are my words.
Awesome. So let me go. And again, we got Dr. Jihan coming in to hang out with us for a little bit. Thank you so much for the time you dedicated to us, Ajad. Guys, go right now before you forget. Both of you guys, please put your handles in the chat. I said it twice, so you guys didn't do it. So take the time to do it right now, because I know a lot of times people. I couldn't find you, by the way. There's like so many people trying to rip off your name, and I almost went on Twitter and said you're the fake cricket connoisseur. You're not the guy I'm looking for. I had to tell Ajad, is this the right account? So many people try to steal your name, bro. I had your back though. I had your back, but put it in there so they know exactly where to find you. And guys, go follow these guys. 171 still in the chat, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. You guys are welcome. If you got time later to jump back on, you can. Again, Aaron, I know you said you had things to do as well, but you can hang out as long as you like. I appreciate your time.
I'm fine for time.
Oh, man. Thanks so much. I love you for that. And boom, there we go. Cricket First 2.0, guys. Go ahead and hit that link, and you will get 2 things. Great analysis, and you'll get it quickly. Because one of the criticisms has been, Gabe, you and Nick, your videos are so long. And to be fair, it's not Nick. Nick and I did like a thing about how many words are spoken per video. I don't want to make that comparison again, because so the length of our videos is actually my fault, and I'm working on that. But Ajad's the best in the business in getting you the information and getting it out quickly. So without further ado, here's my boy. Thank you, Ajad, for joining us. Later, Ajad, and here is. Oh, that was a quick transition. And with good lighting, there goes the biggest Aussie fan in the world, rocking his Aussie cap. tell me they're going to chase it down in 10 overs. I got a bone to pick with you. And you taught me, by the way, that Dr. Jihan saves lives in more than one way. Because I was at Disneyland, bro, and I lost my mind when Australia lost that game. I was looking at people, me mugging them. I was angry. And Jihan said, Gabe, easy. They're still going to win. It's just one game. No worries. But people were going to get it that day. So he might have saved some lives in Disneyland that day because I was not happy. I went to the small world. The ride was not open. I was upset about that. But Jihan calmed me down. All right. He prescribed me some, what do you call those? Tea to calm you down or Ambien, something like that. But Jihan, 61 runs from Mitchell Stark. What's going on? I'm not happy about this. Not at all.
Look, I thought it was interesting when you said that he's not getting his line right. I think it's more his length. It's just not getting those Yorkers on cue. His line's been okay, but I don't know if you remember in the last game. Can you remember Fakhar Zaman hit him for quite a few sixes towards the end there? And he just wasn't in those Yorkers. It was just short of the York length. Was, getting smashed out of the ground. So I thought he was a little bit unlucky today as well. Those two edges that went for 4 off, I think it was Kane Williamson.
It seems like the Aussies and West Indies are always unlucky when it comes to Kane Williamson, for the love of Pete. What, does this guy walk around with a rabbit's foot in his pocket? He's got a 4-leaf clover in his back pocket or something? Come on.
Well, first thing I've got to say is I was completely wrong about Australia not being worried about Kane Williamson's scoring rate, which was the point that I made at the end of the last game, to the point where I thought that Josh Hazelwood purposely dropped that catch off him earlier.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Jihan, don't.
Listen. That obviously didn't help.
I have to go ahead and give out the disclaimer right now. Okay, guys. Jihan is not affiliated with CFA Nation. The thoughts of Jihan, Dr. Jihan, are purely the thoughts of Jihan. Nothing Jihan says can be attributed to CFA Nation. Well, you know how you get that disclaimer right there? Because that's one step away from what Nick has banned me to say for this match. But to your point, that was a pretty weak drop by Josh Hazelwood. Just saying. But I'm not going to say the actual term Nick has banned me from saying.
Yeah, that was he should have caught that. That was a pretty regulation catch. I was looking back at the last game and all of the three the drop catches, the catches that Australia dropped, and really, I reckon the only one that really should have been taken was that Steve Smith one towards the end.
The smudged one was brutal. Smudged one was brutal.
That had been taken, and that completely changed the momentum because it was Fakhar Zaman. And that was off start. And just after he got dropped, he hit him for 2 sixes. So if he'd taken that catch, the total would have been a lot lower. I reckon.
Well, Kane Williamson got dropped. Was it at 21 or 22? And then he goes out and scores 86. I mean, those drops are so huge. And listen, I was rooting for Australia, but you cannot tell me that one drop for Australia. And I want your thoughts on this, Aaron. That one drop for Australia. Or not for Australia, I'm sorry. The one drop for Pakistan by Hassan Ali, and I'm not attacking them, guys, but that was a 22-run drop because it was 2 runs right on that drop, and then he gets hit for 6, 4, 6. It was insane. Like, my guys, making those catches is so vital, especially in knockout games and championship games. You cannot do that. This score looks totally different if Williamson is caught at 22. What are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
100%. And there is a popular phrase in the world of cricket. Jihan, I imagine you will know this as well. Catches win.
Catches win matches. Yes.
Exactly. Catches win matches. And that applies in finals as well. That was a costly drop on Australia's behalf. It really was. And to be honest, it should have been taken. But with that being said, you have to let that go out your mind now. What's done is done. You've got a target of 173 runs on the board now. Australia haven't got off to the greatest of starts, though. I must say, 1 for none in their first over. Trent Bolt really keeping things tight with that laser-like precision and accuracy. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I really can't. I think this is going to be a clash of the Titans at the Ring of Fire tonight.
I really think that this is the right approach, though, by Australia, because Australia has to go in there with the mentality of, we've got all day total. Again, I came on the stream late. and it was the ninth over, I think, 8th or 9th over, and New Zealand had only scored 50 runs. So you don't have to try to score 50 runs in the power play. You don't. Just don't give up the wickets. Just don't give up the wickets. But man, one run so far in 2-0, it's ridiculous. One run in an over. Wow, what a great over so far by Trent Bolt.
Nah, that's not out. Missing.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at that right now. Oh, gosh. As I say it right now, don't give up a run. And that looks close. That looks close. What do you think, Aaron? Jihan, of course, right away says, no, it's not out. It's missing. Are they going to challenge it?
It's missing leg. It's swinging down the leg. And he took a couple of paces down the wicket as well. So.
Yeah, it's got a couple of things going against it.
They didn't they didn't appeal it, okay? But man, to your point, Bolt never has back-to-back bad games, and what a response by the Kiwis. A 1-run over. I know it's not as sexy as saying a maiden over. 1-run over, that is a strong, strong over. Holy cow.
Gabe, I wanted to ask you, did you manage to find out the story behind that, behind David Warner not reviewing the ball that he didn't hit?
Against Shut Up.
You know what? I was waiting to hear him at the press conference talk about it, and his answer was kind of vague about it. But
Matthew Wade revealed what actually happened.
Yeah, because he didn't mention it. He was vague, but Matthew Wade mentioned something. I'm interested. I don't know if you had heard this, Aaron. What did you hear, Jihan?
So what happened was as soon as it happened, Warner thought he didn't think he hit it. So he looked at Glenn Maxwell down the other end and was like, I don't think I hit it. And Maxwell said to him, no, I heard a noise. I think you hit it. So he walked off, even though they had 2 reviews.
Maxwell threw him under the bus. Oh, wow. So, you know what, though? That is a good teammate because he didn't mention that at the press conference. Because when they asked him about it, he didn't mention that. So, for Wade to mention it, it's kind of throwing Maxie under the bus there. But interesting that Maxwell threw him under the bus. And that's just interesting, man.
And just as a caveat to that, I'm pretty sure something similar to that happened in the past. And I looked it up, and there was an incident against New Zealand actually in 2016, and it was David Warner again.
There goes the first boundary. Sorry to cut you off there. There goes the first boundary. Yes, I looked it up, by the way. There's been 4 instances of the same click heard, and everybody says it's the bat, but go ahead and continue your thought there, because this needs to be addressed.
So there was a one-day game in New Zealand against New Zealand, and it was David Warner again. It was an LBW that was going miles over the top of the stumps, and he was given out. Oh, shot. And the batsman down the other end was George Bailey, who's the current head of selectors. And Warner went down to George Bailey and said, what do you think? And George asked him, well, what do you think? And Warner said to him, I think it was high. And then George Bailey said back to him, okay, go for it, as in go for the review.
Right.
But then Warner turned around and walked off because he thought he meant go for it, as in go from the field.
Oh, my gosh. And that's actually not communication. That's actually not what I was asking you about. Maybe you've heard about this, Aaron. Supposedly, it was Kohli. It happened to most recently. Then it happened to, I think it was, I read Quentin de Kock, where they hear a nick, and it's actually the click of the bat handle. So there's been like 5 instances of this documented where I heard something. Is that an issue with the batting? And because of that, they use the technology that they have at their hands. I still don't understand, because if the umpire, if it's not given out and you force the other team to use their review, that's one thing. But by just giving that out, you've put the batter at a disadvantage. Should it be handled differently?
It's an interesting one. I remember that one with Kohli very vividly. It was the India-Pakistan game at Old Trafford, and it was the Phantom Edge, as it was known in the newspapers, because he didn't touch it. He was absolutely nowhere near it. But it comes into the spirit of the game. That's where it comes from. As a batsman, you are taught to walk, and I think that is what happens sometimes with Kohli. That's definitely what happened in that Pakistan game. If you think you've edged it, but your teammate doesn't think you have, depending on the situation, I think you have to use the review. I think Warner either way should have reviewed that, because you had 2 reviews left. Your team was under a little bit of pressure at that moment as well. They were losing some wickets. I feel as though he should have used the review. So if that is an issue which keeps on cropping up in cricket, again, that's up to the batsman. The onus is on them. If you think you've hit it, but everyone else is saying, no, you haven't, go for the review. If you've got the review, review it. And yeah, if you haven't edged it, then you're going to be safe, aren't you? Simple as that.
With the Warner one, what did he have to lose from not the review?
Nothing.
Yeah.
No, and I get it. And you guys make great points on that. He should have reviewed it. Again, but then if your teammate, going back to the spirit of the game, if your teammate is telling you you're out, then in the spirit of the game, you're not going to challenge your teammate. You're like, okay, I'm out, I'm going to walk, right? Because it's the gentlemanly thing to do. But I just think you put the batter at a disadvantage. And listen, I love bowlers. I love bowling as far as the game. Man of the match for me, especially if Australia wins today,
Hazelwood.
I don't care what anybody does with the bat. It's Hazelwood. 3 for 16 and 4 overs. It's Hazelwood. Got the 2 biggest wickets out there. The Dragon Slayer, and got himself a Kane Williamson. But
that's a lovely 4.
That is,
4.
I think that was a.
Yeah, it's 4 from Finchy.
There we go, Finchy. There we go. I will take that. Again, Australia has to realize New Zealand did not get to 50 until the 9th over. 8 overs were already in the books. Do not rush it. Don't even look at the score right now. Keep those wickets in hand.
Well, I was actually thinking, do you think towards the end of this game, if New Zealand ends up losing, do you think they'll regret not taking as many risks in those first 10 overs?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. You will, but with that being said, I still think I don't think New Zealand, to be honest, I think the New Zealand fans are going to be celebrating now. Trent Bolt has just taken the massive wicket of Aaron Finch. He is gone. Caught Daryl Mitchell. Trent Bolt, I said he doesn't have 2 bad games in a row. He has got the breakthrough. Australia 15 for 1. I said within the first 2 overs, 2.3. So the 15th delivery of the over, well done. Brilliant bowling from Trent Bolt. That left arm angle again, causing all sorts of problems for Aaron Finch. Hasn't looked that great in the middle, taking a lot of time to get off the mark. But hey, New Zealand, first breakthrough. Let's go.
Aaron Finch immediately gets himself out. And that is my point about the full toss. And I know what you're saying. You never want to do it. But after a guy hits a boundary, as a bowler, you got to be thinking, okay, this guy's aggressive. Let me go ahead and set him up. I would actually venture that some bowlers give up the boundary in order to set up the batsman. And I feel like, man, that was such an unnecessary. It was a great catch, by the way. Who was that got the catch? Was that Guptill? Daryl Mitchell that got the catch. It was a great catch. But Finchy, why that shot there? I just said, take your time. Terrible by Finchy. And terrible strike rate. He just 71 strike rate. At least he didn't waste too many overs. But, man, last 2 games, I think he got out on the duck the last time. Finchy's been terrible, absolutely terrible the last few games. Oh, this is brutal.
He's struggling to get any timing, hasn't
he? To be fair, he got a really good ball that last game, the LBW.
From Shaheen, to be fair, yeah, that was an absolute jaffer.
Shaheen Afridi is probably the guy I feel the worst about, because Shaheen Afridi deserved a better fate. He should have had 2 wickets in that game. Of course, the huge drop there by Hassan Ali. People are saying, oh, Shaheen Afridi choked. No, he didn't. He did his job, okay? And then afterwards, big drop like that, it's going to unravel you. He's a kid. He's, 23 years old or something like that? Yeah, he's a kid. He felt the pressure. It happens. Put yourself in Shaheen Afridi's position. I get the wicket. It's dropped, and now the wheels start falling off. You've got Wade there, who Wade's been around for a while. He's an experienced batsman. 23 years old. Yeah, you saw that come into play. But Shaheen Afridi deserved a better fate than what he ended up with, a better line than what he ended up with in that last game, Pakistan versus Australia. But, man, Finch has been terrible, and this is bad, so bad. To your point, Bolt does not have back-to-back bad games. Oh, I hate you.
Can we just say as well, the follow-up ball as well? absolutely quintessential Trent Bolt. On a length, bowling at the wicket, still being aggressive, not allowing any freebies to David Warner. That is an outstanding over. It really is. 4 runs, the massive wicket of the Australian captain. Outstanding from Trent Bolt. Hopefully now Tim Southey can get another breakthrough. Because yeah, the New Zealanders definitely need some early wickets here. That will put them at ease a little bit heading into the rest of this run chase.
I mean, through 3 overs to lose a wicket and only score 15 runs, that is absolutely brutal. That is absolutely brutal. And Finch, you had to do better than that. Now you're gonna have, yeah, no worries. You got Steve Smith who's gonna be coming on, right? And no, they don't go with Smith. They go with Mitchell Marsh. Interesting. Now Mitchell Marsh has had some big games, but he's very aggressive. Jihan, do you think Mitchell Marsh is the guy to go to right now?
Well, I think the reason they send Mitchell Marsh in now is he's a much better player of pace bowling, and he might struggle a little bit against the spinners. So
in the middle overs?
Yeah, in the middle overs. So I reckon they think they can put him in now against the new ball and hopefully get the ball through the in or over the infield.
That's a pretty good shot from Mitch Marsh. Talking of doing well against seam, he's just absolutely hammered Adam Milne for 6 runs.
So they went with Milne. Interesting. Why did they do that? Because I'm about a minute behind you now. I just saw it. I thought they would go back to Southey because it was a massive shot. That thing had to be 80+ meters. Great six there.
Great shot.
So I get it. You don't want to use all your bowlers in the power play. Australia usually uses a lot of their best bowlers up front and early, but you can give Southey another over there. I don't understand doing that.
So Mitchell Marsh is from Perth or WA, so he's good against the fast short pitch bowling, playing at the hard bouncy tracks at the Wacker.
Can I just say that's a pretty good strike rate as well, isn't it? First off, he's hit at 6 and a 4. My goodness!
Holy cow! Oh,
10 off
Mitchell
2, striking
Marsh.
at 500. Again, in fact, it's just been put in the comments from Andy. Marsh isn't going to die wondering, and you can't in these finals. Let me just tell you something. I can't obviously relate to this. You're never going to see me in a World Cup final for England, but you do regret these moments. Trust me, I've spoken to cricketers. I'm talking domestic finals, international finals as well. If you feel as though there was something left in the tank, that sticks with you for the rest of time. So honestly, go out there, show intent, be positive, because if you do pull it off, you go down in the history books. It really is that simple. So Mitchell Marsh, this is brilliant. He's just hit another one. He's striking at 466. This is Mitch Marsh at his absolute best.
And when you went off to get your lighting situated, I asked Jihan, is Marsh the right call here? Because if anything, we know Mitchell Marsh is aggressive. Steve Smith will play a slower innings, kind of like he'll build up to his innings, like in Test or ODI. That's why he's a much better Test player. But Jihan's like, nah, put him in there. He's going to go ahead and rake. He's going to get pace. He struggles with spin. And Jihan's call was correct. My thing was I always feel once you lose that first wicket, and I understand what you're saying, don't leave anything out there. But once you lose that first wicket, most teams kind of back off a little bit because you don't want to lose that second wicket, right? You don't want to go aggressive. You want to kind of maintain wickets in hand is probably one of the most important things going into the death and the later overs. But he doesn't look like he's playing conservatively at all. It's like, holy cow, he's just going out and if it's out there, I'm swinging.
In that game against Pakistan, he looked good until the spinners came on, and then he just went for a slog sweep, hit it straight up in the air. So we'll wait and see what happens today.
That's a good point, actually.
Adam Milne is the new Stark. Listen, has he given up 22 yet in the over? Stop it.
May I just say, though, I like this for another reason as well. Obviously, the scoring. Because Australia, they did go off to a slow start, 15 for 1 from 3 overs. The other key thing here, Adam Milne has the potential to be a match winner because he is that X factor. He's got the extra pace. If he gets wickets early, as he has done in this tournament, he did in the summer as well for Kent in the T20 Blast. If Adam Milne gets going early and you allow him to get in some rhythm and apply some pressure, he will take the game away from you. Same with Trent Bolt. You have to take the attack to these bowlers if they offer you some loose balls. So I like the fact that Mitch Marsh has done this, and Australia are now 30 for 1 as a result of this in their 4th over.
So
Milne 15 runs in that over.
Milne played for Kent, did he? I didn't realise that.
Oh, he did, Jihan. Yeah, absolutely. He's brilliant as well. I went down to Canterbury. I'm based in the Midlands. I'm a Warwickshire fan. For the quarter final, he absolutely destroyed us.
Right. No, I'm from Kent originally.
Are you, Jihan? Are you a Spitfires fan?
I was, yeah, but before I moved to Australia, yeah.
Crikey, that's a bit of a long journey to fly, isn't it? The southeast of England to down under. Jihan, I have to ask then. Yeah. I have to ask this: if you're born in Kent, why on earth is there an Australia cap on your head?
I've just never followed England. I started off supporting the West Indies, and then I started watching Australia and just preferred the way Australia played compared to England. I just never got into England for some reason.
No, me and Nick like to troll because we've had this conversation before, and me and Nick like to troll Jihan because he's originally from England, but he lives in Australia now, and it's the same thing like me living in New York wearing a Boston cap. Man, pressure, all right? Bullied into it. He goes to his hospital and they look at him and he was walking in with those England caps and they just looked at him. Next day, you know what I mean? They took his lunch. They took his lunch money, right? They were bullying him. He was like, no. I gotta change this. It's okay. It's okay, Jihan. Pressure, bust pipes, as they say. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. I gotta go home. Okay, I live in this area. It's hazardous to your health to live in Australia and walk around with an England cap. What are you kidding me? Come on.
I would do it. I'd go all out. Full kit, test kit, whites, get some spikes on as well. So be it. I'll come down actually, Jihan, for one of the Ashes games. Not this summer, unfortunately, when England win 5-0. I can't afford it this year, but in the future, I'll be there.
Will England win 5-0 in Australia?
When England win 5-0.
I love it. Yes. You know what? Let me get my popcorn. Get the Ashes talk going right now. Let me get my popcorn. Oh, go for it, gentlemen. Go for it.
I think the human race will be ended by that time.
No, absolute nonsense. I'm telling you now, 2 words for you. Jimmy Anderson. Apparently, La Nina, which is a weather phenomenon.
Where did you read that? I saw that on the Sydney Morning Herald, actually.
I read it in the Telegraph here in the UK. Okay. Well, it was on the internet. I'm not one to get physical newspapers anymore, but I read it there. La Nina basically means that there's going to be an area of low pressure, which means there's going to be more moisture in the atmosphere in Australia. It happened in 2010-11. And Jihan, please remind me what happened in 2010-11.
Peter Siddle took a hat-trick on day one, and England were 200 runs behind in the first innings.
And how did that series end?
Okay, 3-1 to England.
And that's happening yet again this year. Apart from the 4-1.
Jihan getting crushed in the chat, but this is so good, guys. I'm very seldomly quiet, but man, watching the banter go between the England fan and the Aussie fan is awesome. With the Ashes, on the heels, nothing could be better. He's like, my God, from England and following Australia because they play better cricket. I wish I'd voted Brexit.
So Gabe, that 2010-11 series was the last Ashes series England won in Australia.
Right. And I think Nick and I actually did a reaction on that. And man, the Ashes is such a historic event. What it means to the players is absolutely crazy. And people have said, listen, honestly, ODI championship doesn't matter. T20 championship, that's probably like second or third on the list. It's the Ashes. If you lose the Ashes, that'll get you fired. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, you dread losing the Ashes at home, especially if you're JL, for instance, who's under a lot of fire right now. That will get you fired. That'll get you sacked. I imagine, Aaron, it's the same thing for the English coach. If you lose the Ashes at home, that's a fireable offense. Okay, the Queen herself, the Prime Minister, may call you and tell you not to come in for work on Monday. It's that serious.
So Gabe, talking of home Ashes series. The last 2 Ashes series in Australia, 10 test matches, 5 in each. Aaron, do you want to tell him the scoreline for both of those series?
I was away for those 2 series. I mean, usually I have good recall when it comes to cricket, but those two have been erased from my memory. I don't know. Was it 5-0 England in both of them?
5-0 England.
It
I
was
think
it was 4-0 England. Sorry, 4-0 Australia.
that's the
last
2021 Ashes, 4-0 England. Carry on, Jihan.
No, it was 4-0 last time, and the time before that 5-0. So 9 Test matches to 0.
But Jihan, I have to ask, when was the last time that England lost a home Ashes in England itself? We're unbeaten since 2005, right?
Yeah, 2001. I was at that last Test match, in fact, where
Supporting who?
Sorry?
Were you supporting England or Australia?
I was 13 years old at the time when I was supporting Australia. I just got into my, supporting Australia thing. And one of your favourite guys scored 100 in that Test match, Gabe.
Who got the 100 on there?
JL.
Was it JL?
Yeah.
I was just say JL or Ricky Ponting. JL, man, I tell you what, JL is such a interesting character from, I wouldn't say a journeyman batsman, you know what I mean? But he was never like a number one, a batsman for Australia. He wasn't a Ricky Ponting, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't a Gilchrist, but this guy
he wasn't a Matthew Hayden.
Yeah, guy has actually had such an uneven performance, and he came in for Australia at a time when cricket was in trouble in Australia after the sandpaper incident. Of course, Warner getting suspended, and he took over. I got it. Regardless how you feel about JL, he came in a tough spot, man, and he ended up getting Australian cricket back to respectability. So love him or hate him, who really wanted the job after that? I personally wouldn't want that kind of pressure. And I'm sure there might have been other phone calls and people were like, I don't know, man. Right now, like, I don't know. And you lose 2 of your best players. And this is what you're bringing me into? Ugh. So Australian fans, I know he gets a lot of, bro, have you ever gone to, do you ever go to us? I know Jihan lives on there, AussieCricket.com. Bro, they kill this guy every other week. There's 2-3 stories about him getting sacked. If I'm him, I'm taking blood pressure medication. I'm taking Zoloft because I'm thinking that I'm going to get fired any day now. They're calling for his job every single loss for Australia. It's like, get rid of JL. He's horrible for the team. The blokes don't like him. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, they called it Langer management. That was one of the best headlines I've ever read. Langer management. And this was, I think that was 2019. I think that was when they were under a little bit of pressure from India. But I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be a good Ashes, to be honest. I can't wait for it. I know, obviously, myself and Jihan and all the Aussie and England fans out there, there is going to be this back and forth. Okay, we love it. It's part and parcel of the rivalry, the banter. We don't actually hate each other, apart from for these next few months, where the rivalry does come to a boil. But for those who don't understand the rivalry and what it means, this first started, the first ever game between England and Australia was 1877. But the first time that the Ashes were born was 1882 to 1883. There's an awful lot of history here, 139 years. This means more. And for those who've seen the urn is comically small. It really is.
It's like this small. It's super small. It's like this small, a little trophy.
It's tiny compared to the World Cup, compared to the T20 World Cup, compare it to football as well, the Champions League or American football with the Super Bowl. And I just remember people see the reaction. They fight over that. It looks like something you get from a gift shop, right? It's absolutely tiny. But the fact is, this means so much more. It means so much more. You think of all the greats who have come before you, for England as well, for Australia. This Test series means the absolute world, not just to the players, not just to their coaches, their friends, their family, but the country as well. If you win an away Ashes series, let me just tell you that 2010-11 team, to this day, are revered as heroes. Tim Bresnan, he plays for my local county of Warwickshire. He still gets people talking to him about that series, that winning wicket at the MCG. If you win an away series down under the hostile, volatile furnace, which is Australia, and you come back home, you have that for life. That goes down in English cricketing history. So good luck to both sides. Obviously, a little bit more luck to England, although Australia probably need it, to be honest. In fact, I'll say more good luck to Australia because they're going to need it against Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad. But no, I think it's going to be an excellent series. I can't wait for it. And yeah, fingers crossed England don't make the Aussies cry too much.
And I think that Tim Southee's in, yeah. Southee's in.
No, I was going to ask, is Tim Bresnan at Warwickshire now? I thought he was
Tim
from
Bresnan.
Yorkshire originally, wasn't he?
He moved in 2020, Jehan. So I think we're going to have him on another 1-year contract, which is quite good. So we will have had him for 3 seasons, but one of which, you know, we weren't allowed into the grounds for. But Tim Bresnan, brilliant bloke. I interviewed him about the 2010 World Cup. He was part of that T20 World Cup winning squad as well.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, he's brilliant.
And
Honestly, Bres, great value.
He must be getting
right now. Right now, as I'm watching this, they brought in Sodi, right? And Sodi is a really probably the top line spinner right now for New Zealand. Let's be candid here, right? I know they've got other guys. Is Satner even? Is he even? I mean, he's played a couple times. I didn't even check to see if he was in the lineup today. But why didn't they bring in Sodi? In my opinion, I don't care if it's a power play. The minute you could see Mitchell Marsh's approach has already changed. The minute Sodi came in, his approach changes because he struggles with spin. Why wouldn't you have just brought him in the minute Mitchell Marsh came on strike? You know what I mean? That's just, and I'm just always thinking about. I know teams have a plan, but sometimes you got to deviate from that plan, and you got to go with the flow of the game and go with your gut. But, you know, maybe you guys can answer why you wouldn't play a Sodi in the power play. But I would have gone after. Look at right now how cautious you see Mitchell Marsh being. Why not bring him in earlier? I don't understand that.
I think it was worth a go, I guess, with Mitchell Marsh being in. It's worth a shot. But the other thing you've got to consider, it is in the power play, so you can only have 2 fielders on the boundary. And if Mitchell Marsh gets a single, then Warner could potentially take him on because the ball is spinning into him. So maybe that was the consideration. But yeah, I agree. It was always worth a shot.
100%. Australia now move on to 50 for 1. That's just the score update. But in terms of spinners in the power play, the only thing that I suppose people would be a little bit wary of, if you do miss your line or your length, you're going to get pumped because you don't have guys on the boundary. That's the only thing that I would say. But I would actually agree with that. Again, that's, you know, the dynamic nature of captaincy, flexibility. It's something which England got wrong the other night. And actually, we discussed this with regards to the semi-final. We didn't bowl Moeen Ali in the power play, which would have allowed for Mark Wood to have an extra over at the death instead of Chris Wokes. But you do have to think of, you know, you have to think outside of the box sometimes in the game of cricket. And if it pays off, let me just tell you, people talk about it.
And this is where I love Owen Morgan, because Owen Morgan has done that several times where he'll bring in a spinner in the power play. It doesn't matter whether it's for KKR, right, in the IPL or for England because of a matchup. And it's unorthodox, but more often than not, that spinner doesn't go for many runs or even gets the wicket. And that is, to me, that's what separates Owen Morgan as a captain from all these other captains, and why he's so good as a captain, because he's able to, with the, again, not the last game was standing, not bowling Moeen Ali, not sure what happened there. He's able to adjust, all right? But I've seen it several times, and then I don't understand why he didn't use Moeen Ali when he's done it several times. Bro, I saw him throw in, what was that spinner for KKR? The guy's not even a real spinner, and he threw him in a power play. I think it was Nitish Rana. Bro, he threw Nitish Rana in the power play. And I was like, what are you doing? Nitish Rana went for 4 runs. Brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, you question. You got to sometimes think outside the box.
Well, Australia seem to have this obsession with bowling Glenn Maxwell in the power play. Whenever I see that, it always seems to shift the momentum towards the batting side, but they seem to like doing it.
So Maxie's bowled well, to give him a lot of credit, as did Liam Livingstone. It's been quite incredible, hasn't it, really? 2 guys who some fans would say are part-timers have been very economical. But again, they haven't gone too, complicated with regards to their bowling plans. And that's something key. That's a big 6. That is a huge 6 from Mitch Marsh.
Sorry to interrupt you right there, because I love listening to you speak. But man, Mitchell Marsh, make him pay. I love it.
That was a pretty poor ball, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, good job.
Good shot. Hey, you have to punish them. Again, it's intense. And Mitch Marsh right now, I know we've said it already with regards to strike rate. His first 3 balls, he's striking at 466. He's now 13 balls in. He's still striking at 200. This is an outstanding knock, because after that early period of pressure built up by some excellent bowling from Trent Bolt, all of a sudden the pressure has now flipped back onto New Zealand. They need to get a wicket, and that is going to be key in this final. New Zealand, you've got plenty of time. This is a misconception when it comes to T20 cricket, because it's short, it's sharp, it's frenetic, it's fast-paced, but you've got time. New Zealand right now, the worst thing that they can do is start going overboard, start missing their lengths, misjudging their lines as well, because they're searching for wickets. New Zealand right now, look at Kane Williamson, listen to him, stick to your plans, because sooner rather than later, we could see a wicket, and if that happens, you want some more runs on the board to defend.
Well, I felt at the halfway stage that New Zealand are under par. Not by a lot, but, they're still under par.
About 10-15, wasn't it? I'd agree with that.
And I felt that Australia should be able to chase us down. The only thing that could potentially hinder them is just the pressure of chasing in the final.
Right. But
that doesn't get to them.
Not Australia. New Zealand literally had 180, 190. The score predictor was saying it. They were there, Jihan. And it was that 2 overs, one by Patty Cummins. He only gave up 5, I want to say, didn't take the wicket. And then the very next over, you get Josh Hazelwood to get you a 2-wicket haul in the 18th over, I think it was, or 17th over. That was huge. And that right there really made this a attainable chase for Australia. That doesn't happen, and forget about it. Now you're chasing 190 possibly, and I don't think that that's a chaseable. In a championship game, I don't think that's chaseable at all. As it is, to Aaron's point earlier, this is the highest score ever, right, in a World Cup final for T20. So New Zealand did their job, and you kind of feel bad for them. And I get it. Everybody's under the same circumstances. You can say the same thing for England. England, guys, I wasn't hating on England. I said they had the best white ball team at the beginning. When Jihan almost unfriended me, he gave me thumbs down. He sent me a nasty message, almost broke up with me. I was like, oh, what are you, Han here? What's going on? But I was like, listen, England is a serious team. And they went in with injuries, okay? They lost Archer, Stokes, and then in the middle of the tournament, you lose to Mills, and then you also lose who was the opener that was opening for them? Jason Roy. I mean, so everybody's dealing with injuries. I think Australia's actually stayed remarkably healthy, but let's not forget, New Zealand lost Loki Ferguson day 1. That is brutal. And now they lose Devin Conway. Man, that's just tough. It sucks, honestly. It does.
It does indeed. But may I just say, with regards to T20 as a format, Gabe, and you say about England being the best white ball team on the planet, I would agree with that. And I'm not just being ridiculously biased there. But T20 as a format is the great leveler. It doesn't matter. Your rankings are absolutely nothing. Before this final, what did we all say would be the final? England and Pakistan. But what did we see? 2 remarkable run chases, which were defined by one moment. One moment with the England game, Chris Jordan's over. That went for 22, 23 runs. And then in the Pakistan versus Australia game, it was Hassan Ali's drop. 2 moments which in 50-over cricket or Test cricket could become irrelevant, because you've got more time to build up an innings. You've got more times to develop the narratives of the game. But in T20 cricket, one moment can change the entire... is that... Yeah, I've just watched that. That is a good shot. I just lost my train of thought.
David Warner.
Sorry, I was watching that.
David Warner. Reverse sweep for a boundary right after. So back-to-back boundaries. The first boundary was I wouldn't call it a misfield, but New Zealand normally makes that play, because that's another thing. New Zealand is a great fielding side, but
New Zealand is the best fielding side these days, haven't they? The best fielding side always used to be Australia and South Africa, and Zimbabwe used to be a good fielding side because they couldn't really battle bowl. But
don't disrespect my chevrons like that. They had the Flower Brothers. They had a longer Heath streak. Tatenda Taibu, one of the most criminally underrated wicketkeeper batsmen of all time. I've got his signature, so big up to Tatenda. Shout out to him.
Nice.
Zimbabwe's youngest ever Test captain. But no, I do agree. I do agree with that. Zimbabwe, though, to be fair, they did play some entertaining cricket. Charles Coventry as well was another one.
Yeah. Do you remember Neil Johnson? He was an opening batsman and bowler.
I can't say I
And
watched him play, but I know of him.
I'm pretty sure he was like one of the top scorers in the '99 World Cup, and I think he scored 100 against Australia in that World Cup.
They were good though, weren't they? The Zimbabwe of the late 1990s to early 2000s, and then
they were
gone downhill.
Yeah, but that's all to do with politics and
Mm-hmm.
Mugabe being in charge.
Another misfield there, another boundary for Warner. I mean, again, New Zealand usually makes this play. This doesn't go for a boundary. And it was just out of the stretch. And is it the pressure? I don't know. But they normally make that play. And, man, I think that this last over here, the wheels are unraveling a little bit for New Zealand. They're feeling the pressure. Mistakes that don't normally happen with this team. Listen, if that's the West Indies, if that's, honestly, if it's England to make that play, you expect New Zealand to make that play because they are such a great fielding side. And that's been at least 2 boundaries that should have been stopped here. That doesn't happen. And then right after that, a big boy 6 there. Big boy 6 by David Warner. Yeah, David Warner. And now you're looking at this over for David Warner, and it really has changed the complexity of this game. 17 run over. David Warner pushes himself up to 42 runs, and he absolutely punishes Sodhi there. He ends up scoring himself in this over. What's that? 6, 4, 12, 16. Mitchell Marsh only scored one of the runs. So he scored 16 runs in that over. Huge over for David Warner. And now I think that the pressure is totally on the New Zealand side. What do you guys think?
I'm just looking at. Oh, go on, Gian.
Well, I think it's good that they're putting pressure on Sodhi and not letting him just bowl. They're putting the pressure back on him, which is what they need to do in the middle overs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd concur with that statement. What I was going to say actually was in the comments. People are saying Warner's going to get that IPL auction money now.
Warner got that IPL auction money a few games ago because I think that was the worst mistake that SRH did dropping him. And he's not going back there. I think he's going to go to one of the new franchises because why wouldn't you, right? He's already out there. He's been dropped. You go for David Warner as your captain, and he's a big name, so it also helps with marketing. You got to understand that's a big part of the game too, right? Putting a face on it. One of the things that when soccer or international football came to America, people didn't understand. David Beckham got a $250 million contract. And people were saying, oh, it's way past his prime. What are you guys doing? It doesn't matter. It's the fact that David Beckham was able to sell soccer or football to the American audience, and he was more valuable just as a presence and as the face of MLS cricket, which gave it respectability. He earned every little bit of that $250 million, whether he won a game or not, because all of a sudden people are paying attention. And I think that the 2 new IPL franchises need to understand that and say the value of a David Warner is not so much what he's going to do on the field, which it is, but you just added legitimacy to your side.
100%. The same thing happened in the A-League as well. Australia's version, they brought in Alessandro Del Piero for Sydney FC, and again, that kick-started the league. And even with the IPL, when you have a look at the top 4 teams, the big 4 teams when it comes to following, who do they have in the teams? You've got Chennai with MS Dhoni, an absolute icon of Indian cricket. RCB, Virat Kohli. Mumbai Indians, Rohit Sharma. The fact is you have all of these massive names and they sell the brand. And when you look at these 2 new teams in Ahmedabad, which has got a 110,000 seat stadium, the Narendra Modi, it's the biggest cricketing venue on the planet. They need a big name. You need to fill as many seats as possible. You're going to get a nice payday, to say the least. And then Lucknow as well. Lucknow, I think, is quite an underrated venue. It's Ekana. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the newer ones. It got redeveloped in 2018. Afghanistan have played some games there as well. Again, maybe we could see David Warner for Lucknow, whatever their franchise is going to be called. I still don't know what it's going to be, but yeah, I agree, Gabe, 100%. You need a face to sell the brand, to get people on board, and from there on out, you can grow.
And David Warner is going to go for that Patty Cummins money. You already know he's got $2 million waiting. You already know he's got that $2 million waiting. Can you imagine that feeling? I got $2 million in the bank in a few months. Gotta wait for IPL to come. $2 million in the bank. I'm good to go.
It is crazy that though.
Dude, he could probably go to a bank right now and take out a loan on the future earnings he's gonna get from the IPL, because that's almost money in the bank for sure. And that is a great shot there, but right to a fielder. And this is the fielding you expect from New Zealand, right? They always have fielders at the right spot. This has been a good over for New Zealand. This ninth over, they only scored 5 runs, and again, it's you look at it. Mitchell Satner, the spinners, do you bring them in the middle? They normally slow down the scoring. It's been the story here in the UAE, and with the exception of that last over there by Sodi, the spinners has done their jobs. So 82 for 1. It's still, I believe that score is way higher than what maybe 20 runs higher or 10, 15 runs higher, I believe.
Well,
than what
we're on 82. So New Zealand we're on 57, so it's 25.
So 25. There you go. Thank you.
Halfway mark, boys. Where's your money on? Do you reckon?
Australia.
I
hate saying it. I hate saying that because I am the representative of New Zealand on tonight's stream. I haven't been able to show you, Gabe, but I'm wearing a Wellington Firebirds shirt. For anyone who knows their New Zealand domestic cricket, Wellington Firebirds, the current champions of the Super Smash and the Plunkett Shield. But
let us see that during the break. Let us see that during the break. I love it.
But yeah, I wore it as a good looks symbol, and it doesn't appear to have been, paying off, to be honest. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Gabe, sorry, Gabe. I was just going to at this stage of the game, are you feeling a little bit better than you were at this stage of the game against Pakistan?
Absolutely. I think that this is a way better performance by Australia, and you only saw one big drop, which it was still huge because it was against Kane Williamson. But remember, Australia had 3 big drops against Pakistan, so I feel much better about it. They're at 82. They don't have to, go out like gangbusters. You're not going to need a 22-run over from one guy, like you did to beat Pakistan. Because, people are like, oh, they chased it down in the 19th. Yeah, in the 19th, that was a 22-run over just by, what's his boy's name? Matthew Wade alone, right? So I don't feel like you're going to need that performance. Just play slow and steady right now, and everything will be fine. So I think they're doing their job. What I was going to say is, talking about buying apparel, I try to buy that same hat that Jihan has online. The hat was like $30, whatever. $25 for shipping, $25 for shipping, and they couldn't even get it here until December. I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's so hard for us to get apparel because we really don't have a lot of places here in America that sell cricket stuff outside of USA Cricket stuff, where we're about to get some gear ourselves for USA Cricket. And I was frustrated because I was trying to find the Saturday game for USA Cricket, and it was I don't know if you followed that. I'm sure you did because you're on everything, Aaron. And again, I love listening to you and following you online. But 6 in a row, right? They beat Argentina. I actually DM'd oh wow, he's from Queens. He's from New York. The number 3 batsman, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones on the team.
Oh yeah, he's been good.
It's cool, super cool dude or whatever. And he's like one of the few guys on that team that's actually American, because even though he's got roots in the West Indies, he was born in Queens. We also got Ali Khan, who's actually an American, born here in America. So there's a couple of them on the team, and I was like, hey man, great job, guys. Whatever, he's a super cool dude. But 6-0, and now we're like on to now I'm like gushing. Winning changes everything. I guarantee you, Jihan says, Australia doesn't care about oh, what a shot. Oh, that's a 12.
Marsh.
Mitchell Marsh is a savage. He's a savage with the stick. Oh, dispatching that. And,
you know what's pretty cool?
T20s, right, Jihan? They win today. Not to cut you off, Australia doesn't care about T20s. If they win today, I guarantee you there's a new emphasis placed on T20 in Australia, because winning changes all. It cures all. You know what I mean? Me and Nick were like, oh, every time we turned around to even follow USA Cricket, oh, they get beat down again. They lost to who? Canada. They lost to. Now they're winning. We're like, that's right, USA. You got that pride. You start getting, angry. I love it.
What's cool is watching this right now. For me, Mitchell Marsh literally plays his cricket just to the right of me, like maybe 500 meters to the right of me. The whacker's just down there.
Seriously?
Yeah,
You
I
are
live.
kidding, Jihan. You
No,
live
I
the
live,
dream, mate.
I live pretty close to the whacker. Yeah.
Oh my goodness me. That's pretty sick, that.
Jihan's a man. I love this. Justin Langer for president. The guy was about to get fired a month ago. But yes, if he brings home the first World Cup T20 championship in Australian history, how do you fire the guy? Listen, after the Gabba, I thought he was going to get fired. People were losing their minds.
What about after
Then
the
all
Bangladesh series?
Oh
After
yeah.
he got bowled out for
That's
60.
serious. People were losing their minds. Now it's Justin Langer for president. I love it, man. Oh, I love it.
Woo!
Oh, he's just it. Neesham's
huge.
getting the pump here.
That's huge.
Oh,
didn't-
Jimmy Neesham getting pumped.
He didn't have to do that.
Man.
You know, Gabe, you said they just have to take it slow now, but they came into this over still needing 9 and over. So I don't know how you
They're
do
not,
it.
yeah. I said, yeah, just pace yourself until you get to the death. They're like, nah, we want to finish this before the death. Look at Don Antonio. He said, I'm done. Yeah, Don Antonio, not looking good for New Zealand. Not looking good for New Zealand. But you never know. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because stranger things have happened. But Australia is really starting to put down the foot on the gas, as we like to say. And that's 51 for one David Warner.
Well
Back
played.
in form.
Well played.
Good to see. Oh, David Warner. Oh, you beaut with that ugly mustache. And by the way, just so you guys know, this is me growing. I haven't shaved since the last game. I'm pathetic. I can't grow facial hair. But this is my mustache. I see that subconsciously you're also rooting for the Aussies, even though Aaron, you say you're rooting for New Zealand because you grew out the mustache. I love it. I love the mustache, the playoff mustache. Jihan looks like he hasn't shaved in about 2 days because Jihan always has a luscious mane there. But
No, I'm growing the Undertaker Ministry incarnation. The little goatee here.
Oh man, let me ask you a question. How do you get away with that disgusting mustache? Like the David Warner one is so bad. It looks like 1980s, and this is a family channel, but like adult content, adult film stars, let's say, wear those kind of mustaches. Okay, it's a family channel, guys, so I'm not gonna say the word because then that's one of the no-nos Nick gave me as well. But that's how bad his stash looks. That's how bad that stash looks. Oh, David Warner. Does he do it just to troll fans, to troll his wife? I don't understand. It's horrible. It's a horrible mustache.
I think he does it to annoy his wife, to be honest.
97 for 1.
Oh man, 50. And let me ask you a question. David Warner.
Yeah.
He had a horrible 8 to 10 months there. And people were talking about the injury with the groin. Some people were saying, maybe he's done, whatever. I was one of those people that saying he was done, but you can see he's back into form. How much did that groin really play into how poorly he played? And why didn't he just have surgery? Why try to rehab it? Just have the surgery, man. If it was that bad, that it was hindering your play that bad, just have the surgery and get it over with. You know what I mean? Why? And I think that this is something Nick and I have talked about. How do these players actually ever rehab injuries if there's no offseason in cricket? They go from Test to T20 to ODI to BBL to IPL. There's never a good time to have a surgery because you're going to miss something. And obviously, financially, that's going to hurt them. But he should have just had the surgery, man, instead of trying to rehab through it for 8-10 months, man.
No, it's a good point. And this is something which, again, we are going to see less and less and less of in the modern game of cricket. Because cricket, let me just give you an example with England. It was our summer sport, but then you'd have the winter off. That would give you time to, have the quote-unquote R&R. You can have some rehabilitation. You can get over your injuries. Nowadays, with the advent of franchise cricket and a packed international calendar and schedule, you don't have the off time anymore. Cricket has now become a 12 months a year sport. There is no getting away from it. And that is a problem. So there is no good time to have rehab. There's no good time to have surgery. Look at Jofra Archer at the moment. Jofra's just missed the T20 World Cup because he tried to get back in early. That's what he did. He came back for Sussex, re-injured his elbow. So with cricketers now, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you have to get over your injuries. There's no point going out there not being 100%, re-injuring it further, and then, losing more time out in the game. There's no point. Have we just taken a wicket?
And,
I say we as though I'm from New Zealand. Oh, no, it's not.
Sure.
False alarm, carry on.
Almost a catch there. Yeah, Jofra Archer is one of my favorite English bowlers, and at first got introduced to cricket, right? Watching the series, The Test, right?
Good series.
And I became a huge Australian fan there, and I was mad because Jofra Archer, blew up Steve Smith in that. I think it was in the Ashes when he hit Lords, right? The concussion. And people are like, nah, Gabe, it's not into that's just cricket. You know what I mean? That's part of the game. Bouncers are part of the game. So I started to learn that. And then watching him play in against my West Indies in that first, that was the first Test I've ever watched. That's why I'm a fan of Tests. My very first cricket match was England versus West Indies when West Indies won in England, which was unheard of in Southampton. But watching Jofra Archer and come back and dominate in that series along with Jimmy Anderson, I became such a fan of Jofra Archer. That's why I also hate Jason Campbell, because he had a huge drop there that cost West Indies the game. It could have at least been a draw, and then he comes that way and throws away his wicket. He single-handedly had the worst performance. But Jofra Archer, man, all these injuries does not bode well. He came back early. Man, elbow injuries, at least in baseball, for pitchers, is detrimental, man. It's so hard to come back from it. So I'm assuming it's the same thing for bowlers in cricket. And he's just got to, have the surgery if he needs it and rehab, but he can't come back early because I read that he's been injured twice, right? Mm-hmm. That's not good. That's not good.
No, it's not. But then again, it's such a it's an unending sport. That's the problem with cricket. And again, I do feel like as a result of COVID cricket, what we've seen now with periods of players having time off, I think we're going to see that more often, to be completely honest, because I know there's all the talk of, maximising your revenue opportunities as a sports person. Your career doesn't last for life. You do have to have something to fall back on once your career comes to an end. But there's no point risking, re-injuring something which could take another 8 to 12 months out of your career. There's no point. Absolutely none.
I absolutely agree. And Jihan, do you agree or do you disagree? Should Warner have just had surgery and taken off 3-4 months to rehab instead of trying to play through it for the last 8 to 10 months and look as bad as he has?
Well, I think in retrospect, he probably would have done that, yeah, because he's probably really struggled through that 6 to 8 month period. And he struggled to regain his form, and probably because he hadn't quite recovered from the injury. What do you reckon?
I would agree.
No, absolutely. It was all injury induced. And somebody said it best. I remember watching him play in a game, and they're saying, forget about how it's affected his batting. Look at his running. David Warner is really good running between the wickets. And when he would normally be running for 2, he's just taking singles. He's not stretching it. It really affected his game. And that's when I sat back and said, oh, yeah, wow. It is a different David Warner out there.
Yeah. And actually, if you remember that injury, he was just getting into really good form just as that injury happened.
Right.
So it was just unfortunate timing, I guess.
Because people compare David Warner's running between the wickets to like a Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli's probably the best in the business. This guy can turn any single into 2 runs. Depends who's running with him on the other side.
Wickets.
And
Trent Bolt.
Oh, there it goes. You call Trent Bolt. Trent Bolt, you beaut. There it goes. Trent Bolt finally gets the wicket. We're in the 13th over now. And, man, huge wicket there for Trent Bolt. And a huge out because David Warner has just been at will scoring and bowled him out. Clean bowled him out, man. What a ball. I want to see how. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I was hoping David Warner would get to 67 because he would have been the tournament top scorer. Who I think is going to be Rizwan. It's either Rizwan or Babu Azam.
Last time I looked, I thought it was Rizwan. But let me ask you, they haven't given the speed, and I hate that. Sometimes I go back to Cricket Info, see how fast. He just beat him on that ball because there was a little bit of swing, but I just think the pace got on him.
It kept a bit low, though, didn't it? Warner sort of he looked like he was trying to play a pull shot, but hit the stumps in the end.
Boys, I don't want to alarm you, but I think back to a game in 2020 in Southampton, England versus Australia, and Australia were absolutely cruising it up until around the 14th, 15th over. And then one wicket fell, and England out of nowhere produced the comeback of a lifetime. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that for 1 second, but cricket's a funny game. And there is that old phrase, one brings two. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure Gabe was doing that game, actually. I'm pretty sure
No. See, even Jihan. Listen, you have no idea. Renil, everybody, it's my fault because I was just praising David Warner now. Yeah, he gets out. It's my fault because I say he still did his job. This is what 3 50s in the last 4 games, and he should have had a 50 last game if it wasn't for the fictitious or the phantom Nick that wasn't there. So I mean, the guy's informed. The guy was informed. He still did his job. I think Australia is still well in hand to win this game, but now you made me nervous, Aaron, because every single time I do, and I've had instances where I've mushed teams, bro. Teams look like they're clearly going to win, whether it's been CSK, Australia, even the West Indies, and I say something and it goes wrong, and then everybody just lets me have it on Twitter. You go follow my timeline, people are like, Gabe, stop watching, please. Gabe, stop watching. You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
I've got a question for you. At this stage, Warner's just got out. Would you have brought in Steve Smith, or are you happy with the fact that Maxwell's come in?
Oh, that's a really good question. Who do you want to answer that, Jihan?
Well, Gabe being the Australia fan, I was asking Gabe mainly. But
I would have gone with Smudge. I would have gone with Smudge because I think to Aaron's point, you don't want to lose back-to-back wickets here. One brings two. So Smudge, I think Maxwell can score quickly, but Maxwell's very aggressive as well, where Smudge is going to build to the innings, and he will get you all the way to the power play. And at that point, the death. And at that point, everybody can just unload. But bringing in Maxwell, I just think to your point earlier, it is not trying to play this slowly. They're not trying to be content with just, being ahead of the run rate that was required. They're trying to finish this before the 20th over, I guess, and they want to finish it early. They're being super aggressive. But
what do you think, Aaron?
It's an interesting question. I'm going to be honest, Jihan. And again, there's two schools of thoughts with this because you could bring in Steve Smith. And I think in a normal group stage game, they would have purely to try and get them over the line. But in a final, you've got all the pressure on you. You have to get these runs off the board. And I just think with Glenn Maxwell is the kind of character, he's nicknamed the Big Show. If he comes to the party today, and even if he just scores a quick fire 26 off of 13 balls, that will change the entire complexion of the game. That will allow Steve Smith to come in and almost steady the ship towards the end of the innings. So
back on the back foot, right? We'll put them back on the back foot.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, to be honest. Hopefully
let me defend myself a little bit here, gentlemen, because both of you have disagreed with my perspective, and so has the chat. But now they're accusing me of smudge love. You know what? I do have a lot of smudge love. Unhealthy smudge love, okay?
That's a cracking shot.
Yes, what you're saying is a little bit more conservative, Gabe.
Oh, yeah, it's not wrong. It's just two different schools of thought, because in a normal game, I would agree with you, Gabe, because you have got other games to kind of fall back on. But in a final, you have to think right now, you've got one shot, make it count, not sound too much like a JLF song.
But here's my problem with Maxwell. You know what his last 3 scores have been?
Yeah,
he's in bad. Oh, Dominicano! That's a big boy. Oh man, Mitchell Marsh. Mitchell Marsh is trying to just do this by himself. He's like, you know what, lads? Get on my back. Somebody get that man an ibuprofen. That's right, Smurdy. A big 6 right there. Oh, Marsh. Oh, somebody get that man ibuprofen because his back is hurting from carrying this team. 53 for Mitchell Marsh. 53 for Mitchell Marsh. And I mean, guys, he's been, I would say in this tournament, at least the last 3 or 4 games, he's been the biggest player for this side. He's been Australia without Mitchell Marsh wouldn't be here right now in this tournament. But my concern is Maxwell's been terrible, guys.
Yeah. I was just about to say, Mitchell Marsh has looked really determined in this innings. Going back to what you were saying, Gabe, I guess Australia have taken the aggressive option, putting Maxwell in and saying we're going to back you. Doesn't matter that you haven't scored too many through the tournament, but we're going to back you to finish the game. I think that's the thinking then, pushing him ahead of Steve Smith. But on the other hand, he doesn't have form to back that up.
And I know that sometimes I worry too much about, statistics, recent statistics, but it could be an injury he's hiding. One of the things Nick and I have noticed, the guys that played the most games in the IPL specifically, like Glenn Maxwell played a lot in the IPL, right? Those guys came back tired. That was a tired Indian team because they all played in the IPL. And then before that, they had the tour against England. So we're talking about the Indian players. So Glenn Maxwell has played a lot of cricket. Again, no off season. Remember, other players pulled out. A lot of the English players pulled out. And I think that was actually to their benefit because it helped them get rest for this World Cup. But right now, based on what Glenn Maxwell's done, to bring him in now, you are absolutely, guys, showing a lot of faith in a guy who has failed the last 3 times out. Just saying.
But
let's hope he gets
exactly. This is the key thing, and this is a common theme when it comes to cricketers. I've spoken to loads of county cricketers about this. When it comes to big players, one of the most important attributes you can have as a captain is trust. Do you trust these big name players to deliver on these big occasions? This is a final. This is Australia's potential first chance to get a T20 World Cup trophy. You're going to back Glenn Maxwell. The man is the big show. He's done it before. He'll do it again. And hopefully, if you're an Aussie fan, he'll get some quick runs tonight. But I'm just watching this bowling from Ish Sodhi. And I don't like seeing this from a fellow member of the Spinners Union. A couple of wides in there, dropping it short as well. Yeah. I just feel like now, you know what I said earlier about searching for wickets? That's what Sodhi's doing. That drag down was absolutely horrible. What he's trying to do is really get that in the block hole. He's trying to jam it under Mitch Marsh's bats. It's come out early. It's a massive drag down, slapped away for 4 with disdain from the Western Australian. And yeah, again, this is looking like Australia's game to lose now. The required run rate has now dropped below 8.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. What a thing of beauty there. And to your point, I think that, New Zealand's definitely searching for wickets. They're looking for an answer from Mitchell Marsh because Mitchell Marsh has been a monster. And Sodhi, he struggled with the spin. So I think right now, this is because this is Sodhi's last over, isn't it? And I think that if Sodhi doesn't get Mitchell Marsh here, they're done. They're done. They and
single.
What? Single. Just a single.
Yeah.
So Mitchell Marsh survives Sodhi. I'm pretty sure that's his last over. I may be mistaken. He may have another one, but now we're going into the death. So are they going to bowl him in the death? They don't like bowling spinners in the death. And Mitchell Marsh pretty much struggles against, as we all know, spin. So 16 runs that last over. And to your point, Aaron, this is Australia's game to lose. Still got to put the runs on the board, right? Still got to put the runs on the board. But I understand your point, and it's a valid point. You back your guys, and as a coach, I think that's always been my biggest weakness. Guys, I'll tell you a story. I coached baseball. I got my oldest son who's playing in college, a club level here. Not club like county club to you guys. Club is right before high school. So all your best players go from little league to club. So, these are talking about, 12, 13, 14 years old. And my son, who went to college at West Virginia, he ended up running track out there, but he played high school baseball, club baseball, little league. My oldest son, J-Man, Giovanni, he was a pitcher, shortstop. Anyways, he gets out there, and the rule is, listen, if a pitcher loses it, you cannot let the wheels unravel. Sometimes they just cannot throw strikes. I pulled my own son in a playoff game off the mound. Let's go. And, as a coach, I thought I did the right thing. You know what I mean? But his mom was super sad. You don't back your own son? No, because that's to be a detriment to the team. All right. You have to do what's in the best position in the interest of the team. And I think maybe my biggest issue is I'm too quick to pull guys, but I never want to die on the hill, so to speak, and do it because I'm just showing favoritism or nepotism or whatever. And I think sometimes too many teams go with a guy because they've been there so long. And sometimes you got to just, hey, sorry, you know what I mean? Can't do it. You know, you're not helping right now. You're not in right form. We got to go with the next guy. And that's always been my philosophy. And that is a massive drop. Wow. That is the game.
I don't think
Now
that was
I'll say,
did that carry?
I think that's just gone short. That's just from first look. Again, I might be wrong, but
I don't think that carried.
let's see.
No, I didn't carry.
Mitchell dropped Mitchell. That's right side.
I was just about to say.
Oh, I didn't carry. He should have dove for it. Normally, you see those guys dive for it. This is a championship. Dive.
I think if you dive for it, it probably would have gone for 4.
Talking of things that have just gone for 4, Glenn Maxwell has just smacked Adam Milne for 4. Australia need 43 runs from 33 balls. If I may just say another point actually about Ish Sodhi, because he's gone at 13.3s tonight. And what have we kept on mentioning today, all three of us, Asjad as well beforehand on the stream? What's Mitch Marsh's weakness or perceived weakness? Leg spin, leg spin, leg spin, leg spin. That is what has forced this hand from Ish Sodhi. That's why he's searching for wickets, because you go into a game, and again, I'm not of the highest standard, but if you know someone is struggling against spin, the onus is on you. You are expected to take his wicket. You're expected to put him under pressure. And in a game like this, where you're under enough pressure, you're under mountains of it, it's a final, you're on the big stage trying to win your country a trophy, their first ever T20 World Cup. I think that may have played in to Ish Sodhi's mind. And that's another 4. Oh, goodness.
I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. When a batsman edges a ball back, that's luck. That's sheer luck. People, they know nobody's back there. They know nobody. I've had people argue with me. Oh, they look at the field. It's T20. They don't have any slips in place. There's nobody. No, that is pure luck.
That last one was complete luck. Yeah. Maxwell didn't know it was going there. But you need a bit of luck.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's better to be lucky to be good. And Maxwell is shutting my mouth up once again after I'm saying, oh, he's been in bad form. Oh, why bring him in? Why not Smudge? That's a little bit of nepotism on my side for Smudge, my Smudge love. But 9 runs, so far on 6 balls, 150 strike rate. And shut your mouth, Gabe. Shut your mouth. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
I have a question for you. I want to take you back to a statement that you made about 2 weeks ago when you said Australia sacked the whole team. You remember that? That's what you said from this year.
Well,
you're like, the whole team.
After the loss, in the group stage, right? In the B group, right?
Against England, yeah.
Against England? Oh, yeah, because that was tough. And especially against England, because that gives Nick bragging rights. I was not like this. Not like this. Not to England. Not to England. You just get, I was so upset. And I'm in Disneyland. My wife's looking at me like, there's kids around you. Your mouth. And, I might have said a few choice words, sack everybody. But listen, I'm the guy that pulled my kid off of the mound in a playoff game. Yes, I am that emotional. And if you don't perform, I'm going to let you have it. Come on.
Well, I streamed that game, or the second half of that game with Nick, and he was pretty smug, shall we say, throughout all of it.
Oh, gosh, I love it. And what's funny? Nick doesn't normally stream on Sundays. He's a leader in the church, and he has a lot of commitments there. So very seldomly he'll take days off. He actually has to request days off, and that's why you'll see him sometimes stream games, but he's got to get the time off in order to do so. Got a lot of responsibilities, my man. But I remember him doing that. I'm in Disney World, and he's like, he was all but convinced. He's like, bro, we were just putting side bets on it. He's like, England's gonna smack Australia. I said, you're crazy. You're crazy. You better wake up and apologize. And every single that was more annoying than anything, because we've got people call us frenemies. That's my best friend. That's actually my mentor. When I started teaching, he was my mentor. He taught me how to teach. We've got a 10-year relationship going on. But I hate losing to him more than anything. I hate losing to him. We got that frenemy. And you're right. He was so smug, Jihan, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, Australia, not like this. Not the Nick. not England or not India, because that means Nick gets bragging rights, and I'm gonna hear it the whole week at school. He's gonna just randomly text me like, "Hey, you should wear your baggy green to school. What about the baggy green?" Just trolling me, bro, trolling me. Oh, you have no idea, Smudge. Oh, Jihan, you only get a little bit of it. I have to deal with it at school, at home. He'll text my wife and tell her, "Hey, ask Gabe how's Australia doing, or ask Gabe how New Zealand, not New Zealand, how the West Indies is doing," just to ruin my day.
You know what? I watched back through a lot of that last stream you did for the semi-final, the Australia-Pakistan semi-final. There's so many hilarious moments throughout that whole stream. I reckon that's one of the best streams you guys have done.
It was total fun, and that game honestly went back and forth.
Yeah, your emotions were just they were completely up and down the whole time. It was hilarious. It was entertaining.
And I said it tongue in cheek, Jihan. But have you ever seen Australia drop 3 catches in a game like that? Come on, man. That killed me.
I haven't seen them fielding that poorly for a long time. Yeah.
5 wides, 2 no balls. I was losing my mind.
Oh,
get it out! Get it out! Get it out!
Oh, it's 6. That's 6.
There you go. That's why you back your best players, right?
Correct.
So now Jihan's gonna get me, and watch. I guarantee you, that's where Nick. Because I was talking trash on Maxi, and I said I think it was when maybe he's in such a bad form. You sit him down and bring somebody else in. That's what Nick's gonna take out of this and attack me on that. Like, how don't you back your own guys, Gabe? You wanted Maxi sat. Like, the guy had scored, I think, 3 or 3 runs, and then another duck. That was like his last 4 games. I'm like, sit him.
I've got to say that I think Australia have taken exactly the right attitude towards this run chase. It's been completely positive. They haven't worried too much about losing wickets, and they've only, tried to get ahead of the score and put pressure back on the New Zealand bowlers. I think that was a completely correct approach going about this run chase.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly what I wouldn't have done. And that's why I wouldn't have brought in Maxwell when they brought him in, because I'm like, that's a very aggressive approach. Be conservative. And they've been anything but conservative. And, I still have a lot to learn when it comes to cricket. But Aaron, don't you think that just like searching for wickets, when you're searching for runs, you put yourself at a disadvantage?
You do, but then again, it's the human nature, isn't it? It's human instinct. When you know the game is slipping away, you have to force a breakthrough. And if your game plans aren't working, it's easy to slip into that frame of mind that I need to bowl it a bit more full. I need to bowl a little bit tighter. And when your radar goes off, that is where problems arise. And if you look at New Zealand tonight, I imagine that, losing the toss, I think it probably has played a little bit into their mind. They know they're going to have to bowl out of their absolute skin, but tonight they have been a little bit erratic. The fielding as well, something which has characterised New Zealand's rise to this final, hasn't been there either. And it's just horrible to see, because to see a team have an off night in a final, it's never nice. But the fact is, you have to praise Australia. Again, I might be supporting New Zealand tonight, but you have to give due credit where it's due to Australia. They've come out fighting. They've been aggressive. This has been quintessential Australia tonight. They've been innovative. They've been proactive. I said early on, didn't I, during the power play, when it came to attacking Adam Milne. Adam Milne could have been a guy tonight to take 3 wickets for 16 runs, a bit like Josh Hazelwood did, and that would have been the game over. What does Mitch Marsh do? First ball 6, second ball 4, and already the pressure is back on Adam Milne. This has been a masterclass in T20 batting in terms from a chasing perspective, and if Australia can close this out now, fair play to them. Worthy winners of the 2021 T20 World Cup.
Well,
well said.
I watched that the chase against the West Indies when they were chasing about 160, and it was so clinical.
Mm-hmm.
They chased it down with a few overs to spare, but I think Marsh and Warner both got runs. They were completely positive in their approach, and I was kind of hoping tonight. I'm hoping that they will take that same approach into this run chase, and they have. To be fair to them, even though Finch got out early, lost his wicket early on.
Indeed, and may I
And
just
I,
say as well, there was a lot of talk about this before a ball was bowled in this final, but we speak of that England game, and that was
Yeah.
humiliating for Australia. Let me just tell you, there was a lot of reaction on social media, and I imagine back home in Australia as well. But you look back on campaigns like these, and you look back on that moment, and it's almost a blessing in disguise because up until that point, Australia had been playing terrible cricket all year long, and that was the catalyst for Australia to say, you know what, it's time to release the proverbial shackles. Let's go out there and let's attack teams. Let's show intent. And you can see with the strike rates tonight, Warner, brilliant. Marsh, brilliant. Okay, I mean, even Maxi now. What's Maxi striking at 190? Something like that. The maths might be completely wrong on that, but he's 21 from 11. You look back on moments like those, and they'll look back in a few years' time and go, that was it. That was the moment that our World Cup campaign truly began.
no, you called it. And listen, you're right. 190 strike rate. You guys are right about Maxwell. You back your guys. He's come in and done exactly what you needed him to do. And as I said, just pumps another 4. I thought it was a 6, but it just fell short. One bouncer for a 4. For 4. No, that was actually Mitchell Marsh that hit that off of Bolt. And listen, you guys are right. They're not taking a cautious approach. They're attacking. And I have in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, who's been more integral to the team? I would still argue, yes, Mitchell Marsh's approach and his innings have been so important. But if they're chasing a bigger total, it may be a different chase from here. So I still go back to Hazelwood's 3 for 15. 4. That's my gosh. So it's tough. But I got a super chat, and then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. AJ Sharma, thank you for the super chat. 3 different champions and 3 different formats. Good. That is good. That's good for cricket because it shows that there's not just one dominant team. Although I would argue it still shows that New Zealand is a dominant team because they've been in the final for each one of these formats, right? ODI, the Test, and the T20. But yes, you didn't get just one team that dominated all of them.
Unfortunately, from an English perspective, but that's one of those. But with regards to, there's actually a couple more chats in the comments, and one of them is interesting. Actually, 2022, the World Cup is in Australia. Now, Australia love home tournaments. Australia love playing at home. They'll have the home fans, as they did in 2015 with the 50 over World Cup. Can they defend their crown? I mean, that'll be interesting. I'm going to be honest.
Ooh. I tell you what, and the wife don't know this yet, so she don't know. But if USA somehow gets through to qualify and gets out there,
You're there.
I'm on a plane, cousin. I'm on a plane, cousin. You know what I mean? Wait, we get there. I'm on a plane, cousin, because you back your guys. And to your point, you don't know what's gonna happen. But look at the run that Oman went on early on. You know what I'm saying? And some of those teams, Namibia in this tournament made a name for themselves. People now know some of these players from Namibia. There you go with the Namibia flag. I love it. So, am I expecting that from USA? No, but could you imagine if they have even a slight performance? I mean, dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. So you absolutely right. I'm on a plane, cousin. I'm like, I put in my vacation early. Justice for Oman. Oh man.
Oman were good, to be fair to them, and Al Amarat as a venue as well. That's come a long way. Let me just tell you, a few years ago, Al Amarat looked absolutely nothing like that. They've had significant investment, and it really is a crown in the jewel of associate cricket. It's a brilliant, brilliant venue, Al Amarat, and Oman as well. They're a team going in the right direction, but they need to have homegrown players. The vast majority of Oman's players are imports from Pakistan and India. That's their majority. They come from the diaspora in Oman itself. They need to generate some grassroots cricket in Oman. And if they can do so, again, a bit like Namibia, we could see them have a decent run. And yeah, wishing those guys the best of luck in their World Cup campaign next year if they do make it.
And this is why New Zealand is considered like such a humble team. There's a collision there between Bolt and Mitchell Marsh. And as he's rotating the strike,
was
laugh it off, like, you know what I mean? Was it Maxi? They just laugh it off. Bolt's like, okay, there was no intention there, whatever. Oh wow, almost that just took his head off. But he's got to catch that, man. There goes the drop. What's that? The third or fourth drop so far? At least third drop. Gentlemen, look at this replay. Should this have been a catch? Should it have been a catch? I get it. It's coming right at the bowler. Almost took off his head. But in this, you've got to get that catch, right?
I can tell you from experience, they're really hard. Caught and bowled, you have absolutely no control over them. That is pure reflexes. Caught and bowled depend on how fast your synapses fire. That's it. You have no control. It's not like a normal catch where you can get into position, whether you go reverse cup or English cup, as we call it, with the hands up or the hands down. You don't have any position to get into that. It is pure reflexes. It's how your body is going to react, and unfortunately, it's stuck.
I think one like that, if it sticks, it's mainly luck.
Yeah,
I have seen them taken, but I would still put that down as a difficult chance. Yeah.
And guys, just so you know, even with that drop, Bolt finishes with 18 runs and 4 overs and 2 wickets. Should have had a 3rd wicket. I mean, this guy has been the best bowler for New Zealand, obviously, and probably the 2nd best bowler in the match behind Josh Hazelwood. He did everything possible to win. If somebody didn't do their job, it was Sodhi. Sodhi didn't do his job. If somebody on the New Zealand side as a bowler didn't do their job, it was Sodhi. I'm not sure if you guys would agree with that, but I think for sure Sodhi didn't do his job. Yeah,
Sodhi didn't bowl too well. I reckon if Adam Milne drops short here, the ball's going into the crowd.
Yeah, it is 100%. You do not bowl short to Mitch Marsh or anyone from Western Australia, to say the least. When you're used to the whacker, Optus hasn't got as much bounce. I'm going to be honest. It's a bit of a shame, really. Optus, it's still nice. It's decent. But the whacker, let me just tell you, that would be the one test match as an England fan you'd hate. You'd absolutely hate it when you go to the whacker. You just know Mitchell Johnson, or Brett Lee, someone like them on that wicket at the whacker. In my opinion, okay, from like the late 90s to early 2010s, that was the best seamers track in the world. Johannesburg's up there as well with the Wanderers. Beautiful. Yeah. Pat Cummins on debut was brilliant, but the whacker was different gravy.
Whacker and Johannesburg were the quickest wickets in the world at that time. Yeah. These days, I guess it's the Gabba. The Gabba's up there as well. I mean, the Gabba was always quick as well. Gabba had more bounce, I guess, whereas Whacker was pace and bounce.
2 great questions. 16 needed off of 13, guys. Unless something unforeseen happens, and I'm not being too cocky, this game is over. But Kelly asked, is Zampa player of the tournament for Australia? For sure. I think that there were so many good performances. Pakistan has some great performances throughout, regardless of what happened. I mean, wow. And I mean, New Zealand is not going down without a fight. New Zealand is still bowling. This is just shows the spirit. And what, 1 run scored so far on this over? They don't have a lot to chase, but right now you got Adam Milne doing his job and only conceding a run so far. They're fighting, and you got to love that. But is Adam Zampa player of the tournament? Graham Kelly asks. I think for Australia for sure. He's taken the most wickets for Australia, and he's just every game been able to settle things down when needed.
Yeah, he's definitely up there for Australia, 100%.
Adam Zampa or David Warner, I would say.
Yeah.
What about the wider tournament, though?
Player of the tournament, man? Maybe Babar Azam, man. He's just been amazing. Babar Azam, what he did was amazing. You can't take anything away from the partnership him and Rizwan had literally every game. And, some unfortunate super over, right? 13 on 13. It could happen, you know what I mean? They need one boundary to kind of like break it open. And is that another single? Yep, just another single. So it's right there where what game was I watching that happened in T20? And they needed 6 on 6 and somehow it went to like a super over, right? They could not close it.
That sounds like Punjab Kings.
Yeah, in IPL there were a couple crazy games where guys defended 3 runs. How do you defend 3 runs in an over? How do you defend? No, it was 4 runs. KKR defended 4 runs in an over. That's ridiculous. But Graham, I'm a big Adam Zampa fan. Other than the mullet, that haircut's atrocious. But I'm telling you, he's probably been the best player for Australia, player of the tournament for Australia. But Babar Azam probably got it because man, the guy was. And I love bowlers, but with the bat, Babar Azam carried that team to the knockout stage.
Gabe, I have a question for you, completely unrelated to this game. So I was looking back through the stream of the last game, and can you remember when the replay showed up of David Warner missing the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember looking at your reaction to that, and it looked like you completely lost it, and you had to turn the camera off. I had a feeling you turned the camera off and just swore your head off at that time. Am I right?
Dude, I had to control my emotions because we don't promote this with our students, right? We try to keep, YouTube and our personal life separated because, again, students are students. These kids now Google you and they'll find you. I'm telling you, they'll find you. So I got to be cautious. Oh, we saw you and Mr. Peterson to the stream. So let's just say, Jihan, I turned off the camera because the stuff I said was, I just needed to vent and get some of it out, and it wasn't family friendly. Another boundary, another 4 gone there. I don't know if that's exactly a misfield. Again, it just doesn't look like the fielding that you normally see, and that's the boundary you needed to completely break this thing open and stop that, 13 on 13 where they just need to run a ball. Now they're less than a run a ball they need at this point, and it's obviously in their hands. 11 balls left, 7 runs needed. A 6 and a single, and we're going home champions. But yeah, Jihan, that's why I turned off the camera to answer your question, because I need to be responsible as an educator. It's my career. I live in the community where I teach. So yesterday, for instance, I was at one of my students' birthday parties, right? I go to their games and stuff like that. I try to engage them outside of school to establish that relationship. You teach kids that you care about. Too many teachers just care about grades. If you show them you care about something other than grades, then they'll care about what you care about. So I take a different approach as an educator. But with that being said, I said some things that were not, for virgin ears. And yeah, I just had to turn off the camera. I can't believe you went back and watched that, bro. I was, and my wife was at the house. She looked at me and I said, the camera's off. The camera's off. But she looked at me because I lost my head. And I was like, oh, I lost it. Oh, man. Look at David Warner up there with that ugly mustache. He knows this is 6 runs needed on 10 balls. But David Warner, maybe Adam Zampa has been man of the tournament for Australia. But I think that David Warner, first and foremost, turned Australia's fortunes around after getting back into form and probably saved JL's job. Honestly, that's not even tongue-in-cheek, because JL was under a lot of pressure, man. If he lost here, I don't think he even survives, especially if they don't whitewash. Even if it's like a close Ashes, 3-2 or something like that, or, you know what I mean, 2-1, if there's a couple if they don't whitewash England, I think that JL just gets sacked because he was under so much pressure. But I don't think that they can do it now. To bring the first T20 championship, how do you fire him? There's no way. He's bought himself at least another 3-4 years. What do you think?
Well, he might want to step down from his T20 duties anyway. You know what I mean? Like, just now that he's won the World Cup, I guess he can just concentrate on the Test and ODI sides. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Aaron, what do you think?
With regards to JL, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because if you believe what you read, it seems as though his job is never secure. But I think you have to look aside from this wonderful World Cup as well, and that's the game. Congratulations to Australia, the champions of the 2021 ICC T20 World Cup. Mitch Marsh, that seems quite fitting, actually. It was Glenn Maxwell. Finishes it off, wasn't it, Gabe? The man who you didn't want to come in. You wanted Steve Smith to come in as the anchor.
Trust me. Oh, wait, I said worse than that. Luckily, I just didn't put it on the channel. Maybe I did, because Nick was asking me about how poorly Maxwell was playing. I said, just drop him. Get somebody else up in there. So I know he's going to let me have it when it comes to that. But again, guys, that's why I go to you and Azjad for sound opinions. Here, what you'll get is a little bit of sound opinions, but a lot of homerism, some funny banter. But yes, my opinions are not even a little bit objective and not a professional whatsoever. I go with my heart. I go with my gut. And yes, the guy that I said should be dropped, Maxie, the guy that I didn't want to come in today, like, no, bring in Steve Smith, just won the game. So good job, Maxwell. You guys are right. That's why you back your guys. But wow, congratulations, Australia fans. Well played, New Zealand, to get here. Again, the injuries, I feel bad for New Zealand. I feel bad for Loki Ferguson. He's my favorite New Zealand player, my favorite New Zealand bowler, of course, as he plays for KKR. But, Australia to come back from the Gabba being penetrated and then losing to Bangladesh, all the stuff that's happened to now, nobody, including myself, other than Jihan, let me not say nobody. Jihan said at the very beginning, oh, we're winning it all. And I'm like, are you crazy, man? Like, Nick was trolling him. Like, you guys are losing everything. You guys can't even, be big. Are you crazy? And Jihan never lost faith. He's like, oh, we'll win it all. I'm like, what, are you crazy, bro? I didn't even have Australia winning it all, but guys, they won it all.
I think the thing is, for Australia's T20 team, they've never had their best side together for a long period of time. Probably the longest period of time they've had their best side together for is in this tournament itself. So they've just built up through, they've improved game by game, and they've played a great game here. And I think what you've seen here is typical Australia, the way that they've tackled this final.
You know what? You see the emotion there about Maxwell. Maxwell knew, he's crying on the field. He's emotional. He knew, hey, I got to show up at some point. And to your credit, he was due. They backed him. They put him in there, and he rewarded them. I was wrong, as usual. Guys, put it on the checklist where Gabe was wrong, where Gabe was right. CFA Nation, I forget who has a list of when I'm wrong and when I'm right. Although championships this year, just saying, CSK, I'm saying, Gabe Stradamus is back, baby. Gabe Stradamus is back.
You said it before.
As far as decisions go, trying to sack players and strategy, yeah, I'm always wrong when it comes to that. Always wrong when it comes to that. But you got to feel good for Australia after such a trying year. After not just, by the way, it wasn't just JL that was under pressure. Players were under pressure too. They were talking about a Finch to step down as captain from the T20 squad. And I mean, I think Tim Payne is still under pressure after that Gabba loss, to be honest with you, as the captain. Not sure how much longer Tim Payne has. We'll see. If Australia does not dominantly beat England, because I think he's still going to be captain for this Ashes, Tim Payne's done. But I'm so happy for the team and to see their championship, man. First ever T20 championship. I'm almost at a loss for words, but I want to hear your words because your way of putting it so elegantly, honestly. Nick and I talk about, you have a way with words there, Aaron, the cricket connoisseur. So I want to shut up and give CFA Nation some great analysis and some amazing thoughts. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
Well, with regards to this final, may I just say there's one phrase here in the UK, and that's fortune favours the bold. And that has worked for the Australians tonight. What we've just witnessed there at the Ring of Fire was an ice-cool, elegant, poised and magnificent batting performance from the Australians. They are a big tournament team. We know this beforehand, 550 over World Cups. This was the last hurdle for this Australian team, finally winning a T20 World Cup. And they've done it in style. 8 wickets in a final. Let's be completely honest, we did not expect it to be that one-sided. But Australia came out here with a clear-cut game plan. We could see that with the bowling as well. Josh Hazelwood, take a bow. I know Mitch Marsh, he's probably going to be named player of the match, and rightfully so, because that was a fantastic batting effort. But Josh Hazelwood really laid down the foundation for this victory for the men in yellow. And then with the bats, we talk about intent. We've spoken about it all the time throughout this year's tournament. Attack, attack, attack. You've got one shot, make it count. The Aussies have gone out there. They put the New Zealand bowlers under so much pressure, and they've emerged as the victors, and deserving victors as well. So first of all, congratulations to Australia, champions of the 2021 ICC T20 World Cup. A fantastic achievement for this side, which, to be honest, many people, myself included, completely wrote off before a ball was bowled, but that is the beauty of the T20 format. And of course, commiserations to New Zealand as well, another team which many people did not expect to reach the final. They've been fantastic up until this point. They can take a lot of plaudits and a lot of positives from this campaign, but they've been bested on the night by one of the greatest tournament teams of all time. And yeah, they'll have to come back strong in 2022. Bring on the big dance, as they say, heading down under next year.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And Jihan, I want to get your thoughts here in a minute, but honestly, man of the match, it's probably going to go to Mitchell Marsh, 77 on 50. But Hazelwood had the lowest economy from both sides, 3-wicket haul, 4 for 16 in the biggest stage, World Cup game, championship game. I mean, I always favor bowling, so to me, I think I would prefer to see Hazelwood get it. Jihan, your thoughts on this championship as a long-time Australia fan here, and as the guy who never lost faith. Seeing this championship has got to be a thing of beauty for you. I know right now it's probably 3 a.m. your time. Losing some sleep. Hopefully you don't have to see any patients, and if you do, drink some Red Bull. But share your thoughts.
Yeah, it's 1:30 a.m. right here in Perth. But yeah, I've got to say this was a fantastic win. I'm completely stoked. I think Australia were just never really given a chance in this tournament. And when it comes to T20 World Cups, they haven't been as bad as people think they have been. They've had their chances. They've made 2 semi-finals and 1 final. They lost 1 final to England back in 2010. But this was a fantastic win, and everyone, leading into this, the year leading into this tournament, they lost series to Bangladesh and West Indies. But honestly, when you look at it, it was their second and third teams playing on poor pitches away from home. So I don't think too much could be read into that, or should have been read into that. But they finally managed to get their best team together. It's taken them a few games through this tournament to get their game plan together and to play their best cricket, but they've continually improved throughout this tournament, and this was a dominating performance in the final. That's what I would say. I'm completely stoked about it.
And I'm waiting to see the trophy presentation. Aaron, I know you probably got a write-up to do, so anytime you feel like you need to go, you could go. Let me just say, please, Aaron, put your handle in there. 165 still in the chat. Guys, please go follow Cricket Connoisseur if you don't already do so. Look him up on Twitter. He's got a podcast as well on YouTube. He gives, such accurate information. All the corrections you guys, do, and you guys love doing it when you guys go to my comments. Gabe, you're right about it. Okay, he doesn't make those mistakes. So if
I do, Gabe. I do.
Go to Aaron, okay? And he's amazing. You guys have, he stream. I didn't expect him to stay for the entire stream today. So Aaron, I'm humbly thankful that you did. I really, really appreciate it. And I know that you were rooting for New Zealand, but again, always a gentleman in defeat. And go ahead and put your Twitter handle in there, put your information in there so they can follow you on YouTube at the very minimum. And any last words?
I do just have some last words, Gabe. I really do. First of all, to yourself, Jihan and Asjad, thank you for today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really have. I've absolutely loved every single minute. That is why I've stayed for the entire stream. It's been an absolute pleasure spending, the last 2.5, 3 hours with the both of you and Asjad as well. Shout out to Asjad Cricket for Us 2.0. But may I just say, we've witnessed an outstanding performance there from the Aussies. To the Aussie fans, I hope that you do enjoy it, because you've got a winter of discontent coming your way with the Ashes when England do eventually win 4-1, if not 5-0. But no, all I'll say, Australia deserving winners. They deserve every single bit of this success tonight, all of those celebrations going on into the night. And may I also just say as well, Gabe, you sell yourself way too short, mate. You are an absolute titan of cricket YouTube. Yourself and Nick are fantastic. The amount of entertainment and joy that you provide people is priceless. It really is. And for me to come onto your channel, I've been watching it for a while again, just in the background, to have the opportunity to speak to you both. You're both absolute legends, right? Don't sell yourself short. You're both brilliant at what you do. I love the enthusiasm, the passion that you have for this game as well. It allows us to feed off of it. And I imagine the people in the chat as well completely agree with that as well. So all I'll say, congratulations, Australia, and to Gabe, Jihan, Asjad, and of course, our boy who isn't here, but Nick. Thank you very much, gents. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll love you and leave you. I have to go.
Later. I appreciate you. And that's I just, guys, in the chat, I just put in, that's a link to Cricket for Us 2.0. Cricket for Us 2.0. That's Ozjaw's channel. I'm gonna put his channel here because he forgot to do it. And again, I want their channels to continue to grow. They're such great people. So much analysis. They help us so much in obtaining knowledge and understanding the game. So I'm gonna put Aaron's there in a minute. But Jihan, I go ahead and pull up his link and his information. Any other thoughts there, brother? because this has got to be huge for you. You've just seen, and I know you've taken so much slack. Of course, you've taken so much slack as the Australian fan, and it's because of your undying faith. You're the super fan, as Nick likes to call you, but you justified it yourself. Like, listen, if you don't believe your team can go in and hootie the other side, it's not being arrogant, but you should always be thinking 5-0. You should always be thinking it's going to be a whitewash. Whether or not it happens doesn't matter, but you got to show that kind of faith in your squad. And I think that's what I lack. I lack sometimes faith in all my teams. I am so negative because I've experienced so many heartbreaks. And listen, my very first year following cricket, I go with CSK. CSK misses the IPL playoffs for the first time ever. That's brutal. Okay, that's brutal. So it did not start off well for me. Following cricket, my very first series, it was West Indies versus England. West Indies wins that first match in the series, and then I think they draw the second match and then cannot win the series. And after that, it's just been a series of losses for me. So that's why, I'm used to losing and I'm negative about it, but I got to get a more positive outlook like yourself, Dr. Jihan. So your thoughts? I mean, what does this mean to Australian fans as a nation, as a T20? Because I know that you say that they don't really put enough emphasis on T20. To your point, you mentioned how Australia have never even had their best side together. Paddy Cummins very seldomly plays, on the T20 along with Mitchell Marsh at the same time, along with, what I mean? They never bring all their best guys. So what does this mean? Does this possibly mean that they are, since everybody was here today and for this tournament, that they are now putting a bigger emphasis on T20?
Okay, so the first tip I'll give to you, Gabe, is to continue to support Australia. They'll bring you a lot of joy if you do. You'll have some great moments if you continue to support Australia. But what I would say is I'm kind of so glad that Australia have got this T20 World Cup monkey off their backs, so to speak, because ever since it started, everyone's always talked about, Australia never really do well in T20. It's not the game for Australia. I think more so because they were so dominant in ODI World Cups and Test cricket, obviously, for a long time, that a lot of the other countries around the world sort of started thinking to themselves, finally, there's a format that Australia can't win in. I think that's what it was, right? But looking back, the first T20 World Cup was in 2007. They've made 2 semi-finals and a final, and I think even the one where they made the final, I think they were the best team in that tournament, but they came unstuck in the final. So, so I'm just glad that they finally got this T20 title. It's the only one that they haven't had in the trophy cabinet. I think there's obviously the tournament next year. Going into it, they're at home. I think they'll be favourites to defend that. But T20 is a game where any team can win the tournament. There's only been one team that's won more than one time, and that's the West Indies.
West Indies, right?
New champion in every single tournament. So that tells you more about the nature of T20 cricket. The other thing I would say is I hope that Australia use this as a springboard to improve their one-day cricket as well, get to number 1 in one-day cricket, and also continue to improve in Test cricket. I'm pretty sure they'll beat England at home this year, but they need to start improving away from home as well, right. And then hopefully in 2-3 years' time, finally beat England in a Test series. That's what I'm hoping for you, because they haven't done that since 2001. The closest they got was in 2 years ago in 2019, where they managed to draw this. It means a lot. Yeah, it definitely means a lot. It will mean a lot to Australian cricket fans as well. And it's coming up to 2 a.m. Perth time, so 5 a.m. East Coast time in Australia, and that's on a Monday morning. So there's going to be a lot of hungover people going into work on the Monday.
Hazelwood with 2 trophies. Yeah, Hazelwood's had, and that's what I'm saying, guys. Look at the 2 performances. I know everybody thinks T20 is a batsman game. I disagree. I think it's a bowler's game, and I'll tell you why. Because batsmen in this limited format really have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? They all kind of swing for the fences. That's why I get it. In test, you need openers. You need guys that are like, you know what I mean, specialities. But we saw today, you can bring in a Mitchell Marsh in the he's not a traditional opener, and you can bring him in the third over, and they can still dominate in this format. I really do believe that in T20, openers don't matter. You know what I mean? Anyone can open because of the format. Test is a different animal. So I understand the difference between the two. With that being said, Hazelwood, it's a bowler's game because if your bowlers cannot, it's been one big over, right? England lost because Jordan got absolutely hammered, right? They should have won that game. And listen, everybody can say, well, Chris Wilkes got hammered too. Yeah, he did. Chris Wilkes is also not a death bowler. He should have been there. Jordan is known as a death bowler. All right, that's a big part of it. And right, Shaheen Afridi, there was a huge drop there. I get it, but Shaheen Afridi got dropped. That was a 22 run over. That game was a lot closer than this one. So bowling matters, and that's why if you do not have good bowlers, I don't care how good your sticks are, I don't care how good your bats are, you're gonna struggle in T20. So I still contend that it's more, maybe it's considered a batsman game, but bowlers are probably the most integral part of this game, in my opinion. If you want to have a winning side, because you got to be able to restrict those runs and take wickets.
Yeah, look, Gabe, to that point, look, in Test cricket, Australia's 3 best fast bowlers, who all average in the 20s, in the case of Pat Cummins, the low 20s, which is unbelievable. Quality Test match bowlers, the 3 of them. Who were the bowlers in this T20 team for Australia? The same 3 bowlers, Stark, right, Hazelwood, and Cummins. So, your best players are the best players across most formats, to be honest. And they haven't had that. They haven't had the 3 of them bowling together in the T20 side for a period of time. They've suddenly sort of stumbled across it because Hazelwood bowled well in the IPL, and they suddenly thought, he's got some experience of the conditions in the UAE. Let's try him out in the, we'll play him. And they've gelled together and done well as a bowling unit. What do you think about that?
I got to disagree with you there. They didn't stumble onto this. I've been doing some reading, and I'm not sure if you've seen the emphasis being put on BBL, right? Right now, more than ever. And now you see that they're putting, their best to play in T20, where in the past, you're right, they haven't really focused on it. I was reading, and T20 is they're calling it the gatekeeper, because it's helping you break into markets that Test just won't allow you to do. First and foremost, Test is I love Test. That's my favorite format of the game. But T20 is the young person's game, and you want that younger generation of fans, because that's what's going to continue to drive the markets. TV contracts, right? Test too long to play those games. There's not as many advertisers behind it. Where T20, you see, every BBL match I watch, KFC, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken is a big sponsor. They have all these sponsors, and unfortunately, sports is a business. So the T20 format is more profitable. It leads to the young persons, the younger fans. And then at the end of the day, the biggest thing is you're now getting more of the associate countries like America, for instance, that are really putting an emphasis on T20, and you can break into those markets. So I don't think they accidentally stumbled on it. I think that the Australian brain trust, right, has realized, look, we got to put a bigger emphasis on T20, because it's where, and I'm gonna get crushed for saying this, but guys, that's where the future of this game is. There's talks about it possibly being into the, getting into the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? And as that push continues, it behooves Australia and any other team that wants to stay relevant to do so. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I want to hear if you're hearing the same thing. But I read a story on the Indian Times, and I read another story on the Aussie.com, Australia.com, about how all the countries are now placing a bigger emphasis on T20, because they're seeing it as the gateway to really international cricket.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true for sure. When I say that they stumbled across, what I meant was having Hazelwood in the team.
Right.
So I don't think he was the number one pick for the 11 initially, but because he bowled so well in the IPL for CSK, even for CSK, he only came in later on in the tournament, didn't he? He wasn't always playing before in the early parts of it. But because he did well, I think they thought, okay, we'll give him a go. He's used to the conditions in the UAE, and he was bowling well, so they just continued on with that. But what happened was, in the end, their three main bowlers were the same, your three Test match bowlers. That's the attack that's going to bowl against England in the Ashes. Swap Zampa out for Lyon, and that's your Ashes attack. What you're saying about T20, I think that is it is the format that's going to bring the game to the rest of the world. I read an article in one of the Australian newspapers yesterday saying that they're going to use the T20 World Cup here next year to push for getting the for getting T20 cricket into the Olympics. And
that's the article I was reading. Mm-hmm.
They were specifically talking about the Los Angeles Olympics as well, which I think coming up in, was it 2028 maybe?
2020, 2028.
Yeah. So if that was to happen, I assume that you would try and make one or two games.
Bro, you assume correctly. Hey, listen, I've missed out on two opportunities in my life, and that I really, really regret. Okay, the first was going to the World Cup in Brazil. My wife's brother, had tickets, and he's like, bro, just get the flights, go. Problem is, at the time, it happened in the middle of the school year, and it's so tough for me to get any time off during the school year. But I could have just taken it off and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, go to a game or two. They were out there for like 2 weeks or whatnot. So I'm upset about myself for missing that. And I'm like, man, those things just don't come around. Opportunities don't come around often. So my next opportunity to go to a World Cup, I'm gonna go. And I had the opportunity to go to the Olympics when they were in Atlanta, and I was actually a young boy at the time. I was in a boxing tournament, and I just did not want to miss time, because when you're on a team, if you miss time away from it, then somebody takes your spot. You're not supposed to lose your spot to injury or to being gone, but you do. Somebody comes in and performs, and I was a part of a club, so I didn't want to miss out. But those two things, especially having missed the Olympics in Atlanta here and having missed the World Cup in Brazil, I'm not gonna let that happen again, man. So again, like, if USA gets to Australia and they get into the tournament, bro, I am there. I am there. We're gonna be having lunch, cousin, because the wife's gonna have to deal. Listen, you jumping on the plane, girl. It is what it is. The kids will be all right. Get the babysitter. Your mom come over. We're good, because life's about experiences, man. And ultimately, you cannot give up or you cannot replace those experiences, those memories. One of my fondest memories as a sporting fan was seeing the Giants win the NFC Championship live with my wife, because she's a 49ers fan, at the stadium. That was just pure elation, man.
What was that then? Was that in LA? Was it?
That was in San Francisco.
San Fran, okay. Cool. Yeah. So talking of experiences, I booked a week off for the GABA test.
Ooh.
And I was for WA to open their borders to Queensland, and they finally did. So I've actually booked a package for all 5 days of the first test match, with accommodation and like a pre-test match event.
Ooh, I love it. Well, I mean, do it, bro. Why not? You know what I mean? And that's an experience, regardless, that you won't ever be able to replace. That's a memory you won't ever replace. So, man, I'm happy for you. Renil says, Gabe, are you still working on going to USA Ireland versus Ireland game? I did. We are, Renil. Right now we just can't get the tickets. They still haven't put them on sale. I'm so frustrated, but we're working on trying to get there. It's a huge game. We're excited about it. And we actually reached out to a few USA players. I saw, Renil, that you also follow Aaron Jones. CFA Nation, anybody that's here, hit Aaron Jones up, show him some love, follow him. If you guys don't already follow Aaron Jones, I started following him. Cool. The dude is super cool. I DM'd him. He hit me back, and hopefully I can get a minute to chat with him when we're out there. But yeah, for sure, it's you can't replace it. And if I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're 6-0. We beaten Canada. We beat Argentina. We beat some other teams. Ireland's a different story. I understand that. But if they can, in that 5-game series, right, two T20 matches, and to your point, Jihan, anything can happen in T20, right? And 3 ODI matches. If we're able to win a few of those matches, do you know how huge that would be for USA cricket? Because I'm telling you one thing: Americans love winners, and once there's winners, everybody's backing you. Everybody's backing you, bro. You know what I mean? That's just how we are, unfortunately.
Do you feel like strapping on the pads and representing, Gabe?
Listen, not even a chance, not even a little bit, bro. Are you kidding me? I can't go out there and throw the. Trey is trying to get ready for baseball, right? Because he just finished the football season, but he's not working out with the team yet because he still have the All-Star. My son made the All-Star game for the football team out here, Nevada versus California, the Senior Bowl game. But he's like, Dad, I just want to kind of start throwing around the ball to get my arm ready because it's a progression. You gotta build up for it, right? And Renell, I got a fun anecdote for you about that. Yeah, we're trying to get to the stadium, Jay. We are trying to get to the stadium. He threw the ball at me, and bro, I almost lost my 2 front teeth. It got on me so quickly, like the very first toss. This kid hasn't thrown in months, and it was just we call it easy cheese. He just pulls back, rears back, throws it, and I got my glove up super late. It looked like when dropped that comebacker at him that he barely got his hand up. I barely got and I looked at him. I was like, "What are you doing to me? Like, you know what I mean? I'm 41 years old. You trying to kill me? Nah, I'm good." He's like, "What are you doing?" So, in the USA team, there are English, Australian, and Indian players. Yes, there are. Renil says, "Where are you?" I wanted to get to your comment, Renil, that you had mentioned. Aaron Jones is from Barbados but plays for USA. Aaron Jones was actually, fun enough, born in the city I grew up in New York. He was born in Queens, but he's from Barbados. Correct. His parents were from Barbados. He was born in Queens, grew up in Barbados. I looked him up a little bit on Wikipedia. Now, who knows how much of the information on Wikipedia is accurate, but I'm assuming it's real. I know that Ali Khan there's about 3 guys there that are actually born in America that are representing America. And that's great. That's great. You know what I'm saying? We're excited for it, but the team is playing well right now, and we're definitely backing them here at CFA. And, Cricket USA is getting some backing, especially because of what Jihan mentioned. I think it's a combination of 2 things. Of the talk of cricket getting into the Olympics, and if that happens, America's got to have a team in there, so they're already looking out that far, and the fact that they're now winning and performing well. So that's really a lot of the I think the emphasis and the push of USA Cricket, because the Olympics, I think, is a catalyst for many sports internationally. I'm not sure if you agree with that, Jihan, but I don't feel like basketball, for instance, which is more of an American-centric sport, really became an international sport until it got into the Olympics, and we saw the dream team. And now, bro, we got guys that come from overseas. My gosh, don't tell me they can't play a basketball overseas. Are you crazy? From the Dirk Nowitzkis of the world to Giannis now, and you got monsters, absolute monsters. The Knicks have a guy named Frank Ntilikina. He was from France. So I think once a sport goes to the Olympics and other nations start paying attention, it absolutely blows up.
How did soccer get big in America? That was after World Cups and things, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. Savannah's nephew, who plays for MLS team out here, he plays for he was with the LA Galaxy dude, then they dropped him, he got hurt, and now he plays for Chicago. He was actually on the men's U 14 team, 15 team, 16 team, playing for the United States. And you can look him up, John Cahill Jr. Kick a play. He's nice. It was after the real emphasis came. I want to say after the United States qualified, and was it in 1990 or 90? Was it 96, bro? I cannot remember. But they finally got through, right? And they always stuck us in the group in that bracket of death or whatnot. Now we didn't win, but then after 90s, it was like late 90s, I want to say. It was like 96, 97, whatever the World Cup was in that year. After that, bro, all of a sudden MLS comes. They bring David Beckham. Now we got our own domestic soccer league here. And you just to push. And I truly see the same thing happening with cricket. And listen, if soccer, Bill says soccer isn't big in America. Listen, I gotta disagree. There's stadiums in literally, you got the MLS, right? Major League Soccer. You got stadiums all around. Then you got the U.S. international team. Is it as big as the NFL? No, NFL is king. Is it as big as the NBA or Major League Baseball? No, but it's probably rivaling hockey for the next biggest sport here and some of the other things. And you know, the women's team gets so much more credit because they won a World Cup, where the men's team still can't win that World Cup. But there's a lot of people that follow soccer or international football.
So, Gabe, can you promise me one thing? Will you give it to Nick for Australia winning this championship?
Oh, you know it. Relentlessly gonna give it to Nick. I'm gonna let him have it. Come on now, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you know,
I can't wait.
The byplay between you two in that last stream, and it was after a super chat I made about David Warner's non-dismissal. You know, when he walked when he didn't hit it, and Nick made a comment about, Australian fans, they're going to keep saying this for 6 months or something, and you were like, no, it's all about Australian fans. So, like, if you ask any analyst around the world, they'll say that was an incorrect decision.
As we speak, this is hilarious. I think he might have been hearing you, because there go Gabe. Where's the mush bucket challenge? Oh, he'll be coming, my friend. Here goes Nick, and the first thing he does is troll you right back. He says, "I hate both your guts." And then where is it? He gave it to he gave you the Jihan drive-by. Where is it? He said, "Congrats." Where was it? Congrats, Australian fans and the real fans, not the fake Australian fan. Where is it? Oh man, sometimes it's so hard to find these. Oh, here goes. They just woke up. Congrats to the true Aussie fan, Jihan, not the fake fan. So he congratulates you. So he's trolling me. But listen, that's okay. He would also call me a fake Yankee fan because, like, you gotta understand, his baseball team never wins. And I want everybody fired from the Yankees every year, even though they go to the playoffs every year. I don't care. I want them fired. If you don't win a championship, get rid of it. And I lose my mind. So he's like, bro, you're so unrealistic. You expect your team to win all the time. Yes, I do. And when they don't, it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
And
so I think someone has Warner's won the player of the tournament. Is that right? Yeah.
Warner won player of the tournament, man. And Mitchell really Marsh, player of the match. Mitchell Marsh. Warner is the player of the tournament, which is surprising. I thought it would go to people are saying Rizwan. I thought Babar Azam, but I think it matters also who wins the championship. And Warner performing as big as he did today, it matters. You know what I mean? So I could see them giving it to him. But I really would have liked to see a little bit more acknowledgement to the performance of Josh Hazelwood. But I understand why they gave man of the match to. He dropped the catch. If he makes that catch, then they give it to him. Oh wow, I love it. Here they go. Gabe just won the Benedict Arnold Award. Wow, I love it. They're all coming at me. It's all right. Shouldn't it be Zampa? You know what? I thought Zampa would be a good call too, but David Warner. I think David Warner not just changed the. It's because of how bad. Even before this, guys, you gotta understand. Gabba falling was tough for Australia. Then losing to the West Indies. Okay, West Indies, respectable a team. Then losing to Bangladesh. I think Australia was under so much pressure, and the biggest single change you can attribute to their fortunes, especially in this tournament, has been the play of David Warner. Okay, he's back in form, so I understand maybe that's why he got it. But
look, Gabe, I think when David Warner plays this way, it makes Australia more dominant, and other teams fear Australia when Warner's playing this way. So, and I think that's what played out.
Absolutely. But guys, that is just it for us today. Jihan, thanks for hanging out with us, brother. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your passion and you talking me off the ledge. Listen, you saved my goat in Disney. You saved my goat. They almost had to ask me to leave because I was irate over there. But Jihan was like, hey, come down. It's just a match. It's only one match. It's okay. We're going to still win this thing. So
imagine
congratulations.
That day, if you knew that Australia would go on to win the tournament, imagine how you'd be feeling.
I would have been so much more calm, but no, I thought it was over. And I lost my mind, especially because it's England and I knew Nick was going to have bragging rights. I was so upset about it. All right, a couple more comments here. Nick goes, absolutely Warner's the difference. Wow, they did it. Then we have Suman says, Gabe, please read it. Fun fact, no team has won T20 World Cup at home. Correct. And no team has ever won more than one championship other than my West Indies, of course. So it shows that anything can happen and there's parity. But I think that this was so huge for Australia because they hadn't won. And Australia has been so dominant in the world of cricket, right? They're synonymous with cricket right along with England and now India, who's become a world power as far as cricket's concerned, that to not have a T20 championship, let's be honest, it had to kind of be a monkey off the, you know what I mean? Kind of like pressure on the organization. So this takes a lot of pressure off. And again, we saw smiles there from JL while he was being interviewed. So JL for sure has got a lot of pressure off of his back. India West Indies match is in Florida next year. Yes, it is. I already saw that. And I can't wait. I'm telling you, I've seen more push for cricket here in America over the last 2-3 months than I've seen, the last 2 years I've been following it. And it's from Ireland now getting there to, the West Indies going to be touring here with India. That's huge. Bringing India to America, playing that's going to be crazy out there in Florida. So I'm super excited and it's a good time to be a cricket fan. But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Dr. Jihan, guys, always a fan favorite. Gets trolled a lot in the chat, especially by Nick, because Jihan keeps his faith, and he's a super fan. He wears the emotions on the sleeve, as do I. Renil, Don Antonio, Han with all his zingers today, Sridhar. I mean, everybody, CFA fan, Ball. I love you guys all. So much fun to be here with you guys. I've got a long morning ahead of me. R3 wickets I want to record for later on today. But Jihan, I will give you the final thoughts, my friend, as you are the long tenured Australia fan, and you are enjoying this trophy.
Yeah, I've got to say, great win by Australia. I'm so stoked for them winning. It's been 14 years, a long time. We've been waiting for this win. So yeah, congratulations. I'm completely stoked. I want to say thank you so much for having me on, Gabe. I've had a great time on this stream. And yeah, here's to a 5-0 Ashes series coming up.
Ooh, yes! He had to do it on his way out. 5-0 Ashes series. You heard it here first. 5-0 Ashes series. England fans aren't going to like it, but I'm going with it, baby. He says 5-0. I'm not doubting Dr. Jihan because he did say Australia is going to go undefeated at the tournament. Hey, they only lost one game, so that's a pretty good record. I'm going with Dr. Jihan. So I'm standing behind the 5-0 Ashes. Okay, maybe 4-1. 4-1. Just in case anything happens, 4-1 or maybe a draw in there. So maybe 3-1 or 4-0. But I'm still going with Dr. Jihan. I love it. Guys, you guys already know. Look out for R3 Wickets. Look out for more content on the channel. And until next time, that's 6 runs.
See you guys.